it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. You're overdue. I just felt it's something that makes you look good, and that's cool, and you know, I'm all for it, but I think you need to tone this down because now it's getting obtrusive to the show. But they can go in the afternoon for a U.S.
Hold
show,
on a second.
as they did there, and they
Dave?
can do 180,000 buys for an afternoon show, which they've also done for All In. So
okay,
we know they can do. We know they can do big.
Can I continue this before you cut me off? We know one thing.
Yes.
We know it might have done well because it went on first.
I'm not saying it would.
Here's my thing, Dave.
But here's okay. Wait. Okay, here's the thing. Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. I mean, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just a match.
That's the problem, Dave. It should mean something to you.
Give him a quick squash win just to show that, like, you know, he's not a loser.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another eclectic edition of hashtag DMDMW, Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week. I am your host, the infallible Phil S. Marks. And I promised to start these shows earlier for daylight savings time for you guys, or daylight saving time, whatever. For you guys on the East Coast, I understand it's a little later. I don't change my clocks around, so it's the same time for me. But hey, what can I say? Welcome, everybody. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit star, 5 stars, hit heart, hit retweet, all that stuff. You guys already know. You can super chat in. You can become a member of the YouTube channel for 99 cents or check out patreon.com/Pro Wrestle Times to support what I be doing here. Today, AEW Revolution pay-per-view lies. I called it. I predicted it. I said, look out for what Dave's going to do. With these pay-per-view numbers, he's going to completely talk out of his ass, and that's what he did, and we caught him red-handed. He also copes over Ricochet and Ronda Rousey a little bit. Poll in the chat, do you guys think Dave Meltzer is lying about the Revolution pay-per-view numbers? And I'm sure most of you vote yes. And also, when it came to the Ricochet stuff, he didn't touch on it. None of the dirt sheets did until the apology came out. And then all of a sudden he has the inside scoop. He's also coping over Ronda Rousey joining AEW after being one of the perpetrators of saying she's not built for this business. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, get some flutes in the chat because it is time for everybody's favorite segment, so popular it turned into its own good goddamn show, and it is called Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. Play the flutes. Play the E-flutes. And, of course, it's featuring Bryan Alvarez. So, Dave Meltzer this week, I was just waiting for him to lie about the pay-per-view numbers, which is what he did, and we are going to get into all of that, plus tons more. This episode will mostly consist of him just sweeping and gargling for AEW. When usually he's sleeping. And yes, I said sweeping, not sleeping. So here was Dave Meltzer at Dynamite, literally taking a nap. Everybody's on their phones. Like, look, everybody's on their phones. No one's even paying attention. And Dave's sitting there. And he's like, it was the greatest Dynamite I've ever seen. I don't think the greatest anything I've ever experienced. My reaction was, I'm going to just do a hand rest nap. I'm going to do one of those naps that you do in school where you just like your teacher's droning on and you just like lean your head on your hand and then you just pass out. I don't know about all that, man. That's pretty crazy that this is the greatest thing of all time. The greatest Dynamite Dave's ever been to consisted of him doing this. Again, I don't think the greatest meal I've ever had, I did that. I don't think the greatest sex or the greatest concert or the greatest experience or the greatest fucking high or the greatest whatever, you know, I don't think that was maybe if you're a heroin addict or something, you nod off and you're like, this totally rules, man. I'm going to take a hand nap. But yeah, Dave 5-knuckle shuffling his chin there. And that's fucking hilarious. And remember, this 5-star match is the greatest Dynamite he's ever seen, ever. Right? He completely melted down over
God,
it.
it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
And then he's just passing out, falling asleep. So pretty funny. Moving along here, Eric Bischoff had this to say about Dave Meltzer and his incestuous relationship with Tony Khan and the AEW fan base. Let's take a listen.
I can't even describe to you how irrelevant anything that has to do with AEW really is to me. But I do like screwing with their ridiculously stupid, willfully ignorant fan base who just absolutely collapse and overreact to anything that is said about AEW. They are the lowest of low. They're the low-hanging fruit that's so low-hanging to the ground, the fruit's starting to rot on the vine. That's the typical online AEW fan base. And collectively, the dumbest group of people I think I've ever been exposed to.
So this is also why Ricochet gets so much backlash, is because Backlash. He was never on Backlash, but he gets a lot of it. This is why, because again, I say this all the time, it's corny, but it's Batman Begins. It's the end of Batman Begins where Commissioner Gordon's like, yeah, I mean, you start wearing a mask and a cape and they start dressing up like jokers or whatever. That's what this is. Like, now there's so many WWE fans who just unleash and they go, okay, you guys want to cancel people for what they say and who they hang out with and call people Harvey Weinsteins and pedo companies and all this. What about this? Keep the same energy. And then it just garners all this extra backlash. So it's just the reaction to the action.
Right? So it's fun to tweak them because they're so easily tweaked. And at the head of that, group of rotten, low-hanging fruit is your buddy Dave Meltzer. The truth is so painful.
He's
for
rotten.
People like Dave Meltzer.
Just rotten.
And the sycophants that, for whatever bizarro reason, listen to him or think that he has any idea what the wrestling industry is really all about. Those are the people that I like to tweak. Not Tony. Tony's doing the best he can. Tony's living his dream.
Yeah, it's great. The best I
I
can.
had access to a couple $1 billion. I'd be chasing and doing some silly stuff too that made no sense to anybody else, but I wouldn't care. I'd just be going out and having fun, whatever that was. And that's what Tony's doing. So God bless Tony and his father for allowing him to do it because it's a gift. But man,
the gift and the grift, Brian. Me and Tone are working on some new tag team names actually. Except it's like the gift and the grift.
Tweaking those wrestling fans. There's people that have emotional breakdowns by making a simple comment.
Yeah, true. Absolutely true. And, speaking of spending all that fucking money, Tone has been spending his time bragging about the success and all of the money
Best
they've
guys,
been
Tony
making.
Khan.
And so here's a tweet right here, just one example of many. We've also chronicled on PWT Live Show every Wednesday and Saturday night. We talk about how he's been bragging and that they're successful, and MJF's been bragging that they're successful year over year, but then they're saying they're the cheaper company, and then they're begging casuals to come, but Tone's making people chant pay-per-view, and he's, another $1 million gate and all this shit. So he tweeted this out. Thank you all who watch AEW. It's one of my favorite weekends. AEW Revolution is this Sunday. Jeff Dye will be there, and Freddie Prinze will be there. And Buffy won't be there. Her show's getting canceled right now, but it's great. I swear it'll be a great time. See you this Sunday for the pay-per-view. Don't miss Saturday. Whatever the fuck. So Meltzer said what the GOAT, just pulled one of a billion examples. That's very much a tame example, but it's just another example of what Dave Meltzer and his ilk would consider a disgusting promotional tactic. So WWE talking about sellouts and record gates. So Ricochet, the defense for him is he's just being a heel. He was just being a heel. Okay, so that needs to be voted as a most disgusting promotional tactic in 2026, because if you're just trying to heel on social media, you're trying to promote yourself clearly. by definition. So, also Tony Khan making people chant pay-per-view and bragging about, oh, another $1 million gate and year over year, and MJF going, oh, we're making so much money, and the fucking year over year, the money's up, the ticket sales are up, the fucking, so that has to be considered a disgusting promotional tactic this year. It won't be. Like, we already caught you in some shit you didn't even do yet. What is that, Scary Movie 3, where Eddie Griffin's like, I can't even cheat on a bitch I ain't even met yet, or whatever. I can't remember what the fucking line is. I butchered it, but you guys know what I'm saying when they're parodying the Matrix. So we're just seeing the future on you, bud. Okay, felt of the future. That's all I'm fucking saying here. Okay, I can't even cheat with a bitch I ain't met yet, or something like that. I can't remember. It's a funny one-liner. Moving along here. Because Tony Khan gets talked about a little bit more here, and Dave is pushing this notion that Tony Khan being the owner, which he isn't even technically the fucking owner of the company. And as people pointed out on PWT Live Show, we looked at Tony Khan's job title, and no other NFL team, I guess, even has that position in their franchise. So it's like a made-up nepotism job, which is fine. I mean, I'm sure there's other teams where you could find, like, well, here's an owner's kid too, or something, whatever. But it's like Dave is trying to say that the one NFL team is worth more than the entire UFC that brought in, like, what was it, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, 6, 7 billion? Fucking all right.
I mean, I asked him about, the people who think it's like the death mongering that, as soon as this thing goes through with Paramount, that, and 2027's over, that Tony's out and they're going to die and all that.
Yeah. Who really believes that, though?
It's certainly been spread a lot in the last, since that Paramount thing looked like it was going to happen.
Who believes Tone doesn't have pull? Anyone who's ever fucking met him.
Spread by the WWE influencers. Like, I don't see that from any of the places that I exist on the internet. I don't see
Name an AEW. So this is the problem, right? When they do this, WWE influencers, and of course, thank you, Garrett or Gareth or whatever the fuck, GG, for calling out Dave. Essentially, he is, and even he's had enough. Because the thing is with Dave and Bry, they link up because that's like, we're the big name draws, but like, Bry can't peddle his faux outrage and bullshit on Dave, or Dave argues with him, or vice versa, and typically it's like when Bry's with Lance Storm or Filthy Tom Lawler, he can just like talk out of his ass and be faux outraged and nobody checks him, and then they kind of play along like they're doing a bit because that's the only way to get through that awkwardness. And then you have Garrett, where Dave can just say whatever, and this guy just goes, yeah, and blah 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 blah, and he just doesn't even really react. But now he's kind of reacting towards Dave like, I don't know, man, I'm not seeing this. What do you mean, the WWE influencers? And also now you're labeling people WWE influencers who you disagree with. So are you who's the AEW influencers, Dave? Is that you? So you're copping to, you're the AEW influencers then.
The best guy is Tony Khan.
What WWE influencers, like I would say Santi Zapp or whatever that guy's name is a WWE influencer, but he don't be talking shit about AEW. I don't think he talks shit about it at all. So I don't think you see like Wheezy Blonde fucking hating on AEW. And meanwhile, she's for certainly a WWE influencer. So I don't know what he means by that. It's almost like, again, another projection of like, I am an AEW influencer. So the antithesis of that is labeling people a WWE influencer, but really, that's how I feel. Anyway,
since that Paramount thing looked like it was going to happen.
Spread by the WWE influencers. Like, I don't see that from any of the places that I exist on the internet. I don't see any of that stuff.
I see it. I saw a lot of it, and it is who it's from. Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense then, because I specifically do not follow those people, but
so like who? Who the fuck is I'm trying to think of some of these people's names. Who is the con man offending? And I don't mean Tony Con Man. I mean like that guy Con Man. You guys know who I'm talking. These guys appear in the front of Raw. I assume they're talking about the influencers who always get clipped when they're like, for a reaction, right? Certainly, I'm not a WWE influencer if they're talking about people like myself, but I'm just not sure. I think this is just Dave kind of admitting by projecting that he's an AEW influencer.
That's basically where it's from. And he just basically said that he would love to be in the same channel as UFC, really push the NFL thing. I mean, I think
the NFL thing, there's no crossover between the Jaguars and AEW except for Tony Khan's running around both places, super tired with 2 or 3 cups.
Really, it's like people have this idea that like Tony doesn't know anybody. And it's like, he's like an NFL owner, NFL owner family, and those, you know what I mean?
He's an NFL owner. No, he's not an NFL owner. Is he an NFL team owner? Okay. Yeah, his dad is, and he has a made-up job that everyone's dads would give them if they owned an NFL team and you were born. So I get it, man. Like, he's around some wild-ass people. He has some cool connects and all of that. That's awesome. But at the end of the day, he pissed on, I will just flat out say that, when you're taking shots at Cena, Undertaker, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Ari Emanuel, TKO, the board of TKO, the Harvey Weinstein of pro wrestling, when they say that reflects on TKO, especially at the time. All of these fucking people, and they're connected to the Ellisons and shit. And then you have Ronda Rousey. Now you're teaming up with Ronda Rousey, who's shitting all over Hunter Campbell and Dana White and fucking, well, she puts Dana White over, but let's face it, she's out there saying like Dana doesn't run shit. He's a stooge. Hunter Campbell does everything. Fuck you, Hunter Campbell. These are all people who are all friends with Ari Emanuel and all these motherfuckers, Dana White, Triple H. They're all TKO. You got to understand this shit. So I just think he kind of fucked himself a little bit there. And Dave is trying to say that the Jaguars mean more than the entirety of the UFC, which I just think is an incredulous claim.
That's actually in our real life a lot more.
In our real life. Listen to in our real life. Wrestling doesn't even matter. This is what he thinks about. He thinks it's a fucking joke.
What's the word I'm looking for?
And that he could be a football reporter too. Mahones.
High class in sports, NFL ownership is higher than UFC ownership. You know what I mean? And NBA ownership is higher than UFC, and they're both higher than WWE.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, does the president sit Fields? I don't even think he was at the Super Bowl. Maybe he was. I don't know. But it's like you have the president coming out to UFC fights and shit. I don't know. Let's just take a look here. How much money did the Jacksonville Jaguars make in revenue, or just in revenue? We'll just do revenue in 2025. And then the UFC, we know, did like $1.5 billion or whatever. So the Jaguars generated $552 million in revenue. And then the player expenses for the year were calculated at $317 million. So the Jacksonville Jaguars are valued at $5.57 billion, ranking them the 31st in the league. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Dave's right about that. But I'm not going to talk out of my ass about it other than say I don't believe.
I mean, I asked him about.
I don't believe anything he says, let alone or the way he thinks about things, let alone the way he's going to place the hierarchy of sports when he calls fucking Patrick Mahomes Patrick Mahomes.
He had Cuervo with him the whole time too,
and he calls Cuervo. We don't need to listen to your dumb shit when it comes to football, buddy. So moving along here, Tone gets brought up some more, and this is, Dave is kind of coping over stuff and talking about percentages, and this sort of has to do with Tone, just him protecting Tone. And Julian Weeks posts this: Dave Meltzer, the gap is closing in the WWE versus AEW wrestling war. So Dave Meltzer goes, the scam is in denial from last year. Mania ticket sales are down 19%. Revolution up 14%. Same buildings for each from a year ago. Collision just did its 2 best viewers. Pardon me. Numbers for shows opposite a PLE, a WWE PLE, and NXT PLE since 23, each in the last 2 weeks. From 1 year ago, in viewers this past week, Raw was down 7% domestic, SmackDown down 31.1, NXT down 25.2. This one is unfair, but week before was down whatever, Collision up whatever, and Dynamite up whatever. It is what it is. And so, yeah, Dave, the problem is he's like, from last year, it's like, buddy, talk about AEW from 4 years ago and how each year it just goes down, 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 down. Unless you can admit that. Like, nobody's trying to dismiss the fact WWE is this massive head start, but we've seen ebbs and flows. Okay? And then we saw WCW. The trend was, I'm sure there was ups and downs, but then it went really high, really fast, and then it just fizzled out and didn't exist anymore. And with ECW, I'm not sure if you could track it to where there's fucking ups and downs like that are really significant. But again, ECW seemed to like climb, get popular, get on TV, go down, and then fucking fizzle out. Then it just went straight down, then it was gone. So with AEW, all we've seen is straight down. Yes, when Punk showed up, it went up again, and then he got suspended, it went down, and then he came back, and then it went up again a little bit, like halfway as much as it did the first time, and then he got fired, and then it just has continued down, down, down. So other than just like the Punk X Factor coming in, and it's not to take anything away from AEW, but I've said this before, if Punk returned to WWE, then it would have, if Punk returned to TNA, then they maybe would have been where they're at now quicker. Like, who fucking knows? But Punk's a draw. Like, they chanted it. You can't tell me he's not. The UFC brought him in to try and drown out Bellator when they needed fucking views. They chanted his name in pro wrestling for fucking a decade before he came back. Right? So they chanted his name in companies he never even wrestled in before and shit like this. So Punk's a draw. Okay. So if you remove that or even give it to them, it's still just down, 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 down year over year. If you really, really fucking think about it. And it's just, that's significant because it's like, when does the bounce back really start? You can keep saying this shit and keep comparing it to WWE when you don't need to do that because it doesn't help AEW's case at all, man. TNA, this is what they had to do. Stop being compared to other shit, and then they were able to turn things around. Okay? So AEW comes in, we're the number 2 now, we're the number 2. And then it was like, okay, TNA is the only other number 2, really, if you want to break it down. We're the number 2. Now you're being looked at as the number 2, and then TNA was able to turn shit around because people weren't looking at them as the fucking number 2. And now you're just taking a number 2 instead of being number 2. I don't know. AEW is trying to turn things around a little bit, but they're doing like old 1990s WWE shit, the Jurassic Express bus and all this shit. I don't know, man. It just feels like they're doing really cheesy, old, shitty WWE stuff. And that's fine. I mean, Tone's not that creative, but I do like that they're like shortening the length of matches. And then he still doesn't know how to book an overrun and doesn't realize he should stop doing that. But it's a way they cheat the ratings and shit. So Either way, Dave's spurging out about this, just defending tone. Raj Giri just drops some bombs here. He goes, talk about denial. There's a lot of cherry picking and omission of context here. Instead of picking 1 week, why not look at all of February? Nielsen updated their methodology in late January that benefited cable shows. So while SmackDown, Dynamite, and Collision saw big gains, NXT did not. That's a Nielsen issue, not an NXT one. WrestleMania is running the same stadium 2 years in a row. Stadium, not arena, with crazy high ticket prices. When AEW last ran the same stadium 2 years in a row with All In, the attendance was down 37% for the second show. We'll see where Mania ends up. That's exactly the thing everyone glosses over, and that's Sickos and Dave Meltzer, the fucking Vecna of the Sicko hive mind, and the Sicko Gorgons. None of them bring that part up. None of them mention that fucking part. And it's funny, man. And also, Dave's the one screaming yodele hee hoo from the fucking rooftops, yodeling about how, well, tourism in Vegas is down, and you don't understand tourism if you don't understand how CMLL sells out all the shit. And now he's the master expert of fucking tourism. And Dave Meltzer's telling us tourism's down and they're gouging in Vegas and no one wants to go there and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, he's holding a fucking WrestleMania watch party. He was the one talking about the blackouts, Brian. He's holding a WrestleMania watch party convention all weekend with Dave Meltzer and the Wrestling Observer Muppets. And you can watch WrestleMania with Dave, and he can sit there and pretend he's unimpressed with the fucking show while he's there charging people tickets for these events with him and Bri, by the way. Okay? So he's all good with grifting off of WrestleManias in town. I'm going to go grift off it and fucking sell tickets so you can come hang out and do a watch party with me, even though I'm telling people tourism's bad, everything's fucking expensive, and they're doing blackouts of watch parties and shit. It's unreal, man. It's like South Park every day. So Raj says, now some actual stats for the month of Feb. Since you've stated for years that 18 to 49 matters more than viewership, we'll use that, except for Raw. Raw averaged 2.8 million Netflix views. Yeah, by the way, before we get into this, because Raj points out, except for Raw, which doesn't have 18 to 49 numbers available. And that's the thing. Dave wanted to flip-flop on the 18 to 49 because he's so behind the times and he knows so little about streaming and what's meta and how this shit works these days, that he fucking didn't account for the fact that these streamers view multiple key demos, quote unquote. The key demos. No, none of them are key if if there's multiple of them, just the demos, and they break it down. Da-na-na. I just saw this thing. I should have bookmarked it. I think it was on my Twitter at PhilMarksOut is where I look at, like, just more tweet about pop culture and shit like that over there. But I saw like one of these streamers or someone reporting on it posted a thing of like the 12 different age gaps and how they look at age ranges and genders and all this shit and how they view the quote unquote key demos for streaming. There's like multiple things that they're looking at. And a lot of it has to do with like minutes streamed, retention rate. Those are like key things. Again, that's the meta. Dave doesn't understand that shit at all because he has the retention rate or the attention fucking span of like a goldfish or a baby that you jingle keys in front of and then you flick a coin in front of and they're like, it's like a cat. He's like a cat with a laser pointer, you know? So anyways, Raw averaged 2.8 million Netflix viewers, down 1% from 2025. SmackDown on USA averaged a 0.35. Big Data plus panel rating is minus 27% from 25 panel only. Dynamite 0.12, which is down 29%. Collision 0.08, which is down 33%. Live event market-to-market comparisons. WWE 43% positive, 3 positive, 1 negative. AEW 25% positive, 1 positive, 2 negative, 1 even. Make whatever you will of those stats, but those are facts. Yeah, so the gap is they're not closing any fucking gap. Okay? They're just they just shriveled up like this. Dave will see this minus 27, minus 29. I mean, that's pretty much the same, but it's like, no, there's a gap there and the people watching this shit and who know about it. So that's where Dave comes up with like That's how he interprets this shit. It's just in his own little kooky way, Meltzer math. It absolutely exists. And yeah, I'm not here to be like, see, AEW's shit in the bed, but they just need Dave to quit trying to convince people of the opposite. Like, I try and put AEW over when it's good. I really fucking do. I try really hard to, and I shouldn't have to. I try and promote. I think I would do better promoting it than a Dave Meltzer. A lot of people would. Okay, you got to be open to listening to people, and you can't be calling Dave on the phone, Tone. Okay, that's your homework for this week. No phone calls. It's like no, not November. No phone calls to Dave. All of starting. We'll give you a couple days. Okay, starting April 1st. No phone calls to Dave for 1 month, Tone, or else. And I quote tweeted this, or I responded to Dave Meltzer, who responded to Raj Giri, by the way. And he was like, scam is in the denial from last year. Mania ticket sales are down 19%. Revolution's up 14%. Same buildings for each from a year ago. Collision just did its 2 best viewer numbers. And again, this is distributed, bud. This is distributed, bud. And also, there's 40,000 people at 2 nights of WrestleMania. 2 nights in a row, 40,000. After they distribute and fluff it up a bit. And after Tone fluffed it up a bit, there was 12,000 and 12,000 at Revolution. You can't compare Revolution to WrestleMania, buddy. Same buildings for each from a year ago. Collision just did its 2 best viewers numbers for shows opposite of PLE and NXT PLE since 23, each in the last 2 weeks. What? From 1 year ago in viewers this past week, Raw down 7% domestic. Oh, I get what he's saying there. Okay. Raw down 7% domestic. SmackDown down 31.1. NXT down 25.2. Collision. So I read that, but again, just to reiterate this. So I fucking respond to this and I go, Dave is too dumb to notice how the fan base is being whittled down. AEW Revolution and Double or Nothing, which again, some people, this was a debate just last year. Is Double or Nothing or All In AEW's WrestleMania? This was a debate. Even O'Shea Jackson Jr. was tweeting about it. And I caught heat for I put out a tweet that went kind of viral, got a lot of fucking likes. Viral for the IWC. When I use that term, I use it very, it is the IWC. We are in a bubble chat. Okay. So, I'll check in with chat, by the way. Don't mean to keep you guys waiting. But what are we saying here? So it's being whittled down. Okay. And I said Revolution and Double or Nothing are going to do the same attendance, both less than your average Raw in 26. So Raw did 15,200, whatever the fuck, the night after Revolution that did 12,000. It was fluffed. Okay. That's undeniable. And that's fine. But especially in those like Cali markets, that shit's fluffed up. Okay. That's like the Bucks' home turf. They're just fucking shoveling tickets out in front of shops and schools and all that shit. So, and that's fine. Everybody's going to fluff it up a bit. You're going to pepper it in a little bit, that's fine. Pepper the people in. But yeah, I mean, Raw, where they likely didn't fluff it up that much, the Raws they'll just take the hit. If they sell 9,000, they sell fucking 9,000. But the Raw after Revolution had like 15,000 people in the building. They sold 12,000 for Revolution, and then they're about to sell 12,000 is my guess. I think they'll fluff it up a bit. But they're on track. They're at about 10,000 tickets distributed right now for Double or Nothing. Again, people were stoked on how Revolution moved tickets fairly quickly. So Double or Nothing's moving tickets quickly. I mean, I hope they get to 20K or some shit like that. Maybe they'll do 15, but I'm just saying that's like a Raw. And you could argue Double or Nothing's like their SummerSlam if it's not their Mania event. So it's actually being whittled down. It's like everything's leveling out. Okay. And then when you guys go to Cali, everything, even the Dynamite, seemed to do a little better. And that's fine. I mean, that you had a PWG crowd. That's where a lot of people fucking got their start and shit like that. But everywhere else AEW goes, it's not like that. and they're running smaller buildings. There's a reason for that. And I applaud Tone for doing that. But Dave is just, he doesn't see how, like, okay, but all the pay-per-views are starting to. Also, if we're to believe Brandon Thurston, which we're going to talk about in a minute, apparently Tone McCon tried to buy WWE, and Brandon Thurston exposed this in one of his many lawsuits that he has going on with fucking buildings and ticket sales, whatever the fuck. He's always suing someone. But Thirsty Thurston, if we're to believe him, then at the last All In as well, there was like 18 to 20,000 people there max that bought tickets. Everything else was papered or whatever the fuck. So again, what's the next All In? Maybe since they're going back to London, it'll be bigger than the last one. But if they did it in America again, just take a guess how many people would be there. It's not going to shift economies. Dave Meltzer's not going to do an all-in con where he's grifting ticket sales all weekend and shit for himself to do a watch party. He's going to be there in Tony's office in Gorilla calling spots, Bryan. But jokes aside, seriously. And I just said, shut the fuck up and stop hurting the perception of their brand. That's all he does. He just hurts the way people perceive the brand when he does this shit. So we move along here. And again, this is just Dave, like random Dave stuff, but Tone relates to all of this. Okay. As we go through this stuff.
The best guy's Tony Khan.
Dave says there has been at least one pro wrestling company that has shown interest in Cain Velasquez following his release from prison last month. So who do you think that is? Obviously AEW, or he would just say WWE he wants to get rumblings going and then fucking. Or he wants people to just assume like, oh, AEW, yeah, scoop up Kane, because they like that Kane can do lucha shit. And then he can go, oh, they booked Kane better than they did in WWE, Bryan. It's always the agenda, and it's just obvious. Like, dude, he just got out of prison. I don't want any wrestling companies reaching out to him so soon, okay? So, shout out Cain Velasquez, though. Moving along here. So we just talked about Dave Meltzer and his WrestleMania ticket sales. Well, here, let me check in with chat. Sorry. Keep forgetting, guys. I'm a dumbass. F1WGP7 gifted a pro Wrestle Clips.
He had Cuervo with him the whole time, too.
Hell yeah, dude. I don't know who got that, but shout out whoever did. Shout out F1WGP7. You guys can gift memberships or become one for 99 cents. We do bonus shows. Last Monday's was amazing. And then CM's been a member for 17 good goddamn months. I appreciate that, and I acknowledge you guys. Round of applause. You think Zaslav wasn't self-serving himself in the WBD deal? Yeah, imagine TK got WWE. All this lawsuit would be on Tony Khan. Exactly. He's a fucking dumbass. And then that's the thing. He wanted to acquire it, but then he calls it the Harvey Weinstein. Double or Nothing was their mania until Tony bought ROH and got the rights to All In with it. Then they switched gears. WrestleMania both nights did 66 million at the gate. Did AEW sell 66 million in tickets in all of 25? There's no war. Yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right. Okay, so let's dive back into this stuff right here. So Dave Meltzer, he talks about WWE a little bit here, and so does Bryan Alvarez. And so Bryan Alvarez goes, most within WWE were shocked to see Ronda Rousey show up at AEW Revolution.
Are you sure about that?
Only a few people in WWE knew about it. And then I just quote tweeted this, and I was like, literally nobody told him this, and it fucking blew up pretty good for the IWC. 900 likes. That's hilarious because nobody told him this, and if they did, they're laughing. They're literally hooting and hollering while they're telling him this. Only a few people at WWE knew about it. I'm sure there was a couple, like she has some wrestling friends, if any, but most within WWE were shocked, and this was like the night of, if I'm not mistaken. So most people in WWE the night of Sunday night, while they were all getting their sleep in before they traveled to fucking Raw, and they weren't staying up watching this bullshit. They were shocked to hear about Ronda Rousey, and they told Bryan that fucking night, like,
Brian.
you know, these guys are just reaching, man. They're way too. This is just an out-of-pocket lie. I'm sorry. So we move along. Dave Meltzer, we talked about Raj Giri slapping him around a little bit, and he talks about how, you know, it's just too little too late when it comes to a 316-day sale where they did 31.6% off ticket sales for WrestleMania. Now, I'm sure they've done this same deal or a similar deal on merch, ticket sales, live events, Road to WrestleMania show. I guarantee you this is not the first time WWE's done a 31.6% sale for 316 day. I promise you it's not. And Dave Meltzer's sitting here like, oh, is this too little too late, Bryan, for them to what? Salvage the 40,000 tickets they've sold both goddamn nights? Like,
learn Meltzer Inferno.
Sold / distributed, you know, like either way, it's 40,000 and then 40,000, bud. And you're going to be in town. It's too little too late. You're going to be in town selling tickets yourself to people to watch it with you. Why do you want it to be a catastrophic thing when you're going to be there hanging out with people to watch this thing? It's just so fucking cringe and phony. And again, to say, is it too little too late? I don't know, man. March is before April, and WrestleMania's in April, Dave. And 316 is before WrestleMania. I think
This just in, we have confirmed that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.
You know, maybe it's a desperation sale is what he's trying to insinuate. And it's like, all right, maybe that's the mentality. I won't discount that that's a possibility, but like, I'm pretty sure March 16 is just before April when WrestleMania is. So.
Well, today was 316 day, and WWE discounted ticket prices for WrestleMania. I believe they're still at 37,000.
I haven't looked, but they discounted every show between now and June 9th, I believe, for one day only, and it's over now, but 31.6%. So I don't know if there's any new counts or how effective this was in all the different cities. But put it this way, it's like there's been many, many March 16ths in the last 10 years, and they've never done this before.
Dude, they did this for WrestleMania over Valentine's Day a month ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that was 20%.
Yeah, but that was 20%, Brian.
Poor people don't like AEW.
So it's 316 for 316 day. We're gonna do a fucking 20. We're gonna do a 19% sale off, 15% for 316 day. Like, Dave, you are out, bro. This is just like what you do on the internet. Oh, it's 420. We're doing a 4.2% sale offer. We're doing a 42% sale on all of these items. Or if you buy something, get the next thing 42% off or whatever. Come on, man. What a crazy asshole. Oh, it's 6.9. We're doing a 69% off sale. You know? Off all the lube, off all the baby oil you're rubbing yourself up with before that last Dynamite that you went to, which we're going to cover in a bit.
Yeah. But that didn't work that well.
No, it didn't work at all, actually.
Yeah.
I mean,
the problem
if you look at the number of tickets that were sold, I mean,
it was only a couple hundred.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is that now you're getting to the point where people have made up their mind.
Yes, this should have been done a long time ago. Like, yeah. Flights are only getting more expensive the closer we get. The hotels are only going to get more expensive. Everything's only going to get more expensive. And if you're a person who wasn't going to buy tickets because they were too expensive, well,
and because the chaos. So again, the WWE influencers. Well, maybe if you guys didn't block them all because they're harmless, they went to fucking Vegas and they were like, a bunch of them were like, I really fucking hope Mania isn't in Vegas again. Like, this is, a lot of people don't want to go back there. It's just a chaotic city and whatnot, and the economy's bad. Vegas is doing things to switch that up, but again, it's like, you two chuckle fucks are going there selling tickets for your own convention to do watch-alongs. There's gonna be, why are you doing that? Because there's gonna be 40,000 wrestling fans there both nights, the whole weekend. They're talking like, there's 20,000 people, or they're talking like it's less than that. Could you imagine them talking about All In Texas like this shit? Like, they're talking about this Mania. It's actually fucking cooked, man.
Tickets get a little cheaper, and everything else is now getting far more expensive. Well, you missed your chance. Should have been done a long time ago.
You missed your chance. Should have been a long time ago, but just not even a week ago, I think 1 week ago, we released the announcement, the press release, that the tickets are on sale for our events to come sing karaoke with fucking Dave and watch him fall asleep, take a fucking heroin hand nap while he's watching WrestleMania 42. You guys just put your ticket sales for your fucking hangout convention on sale like a week ago. What the fuck, man? And then they say this. Everything's just more expensive, so get your tickets to our thing, but fuck WrestleMania, guys. Nutty, man. Nutty behavior. So, again, lots of people are going to more than likely start saying that Vince McMahon is the doom and gloomers, if you will. Speaking of which, they are going to start saying that Vince McMahon is coming back to WWE, although that's failed like 3 times already. But there is another big guy, or there's some family, or they've been alluding to this for a while on WWE programming, right? There's the higher ups are calling Adam Pearce and being like, do this and do that. And then all of a sudden they get sent a box from the higher ups. And now Orton's talking about wrestling as more than one royal family and whatnot. And everybody's speculating what it's going to be. I'm not saying these two chuckle fucks are going to say it's Vince McMahon. It'd be cool if it was Shane or something, maybe. Not that I really want to see Shane again, to be like, I mean, I'll see him, but I don't need to see him. Vince McMahon is actually trending right now. So I wonder if people are currently melting down about, like, is it Vince? Is Vince coming back? Blah, blah, blah. I'm curious to know. I'll click on it and look. Live in the air. Time Cop. No, I think it just all has to do with Tony Khan and the realization that he would have inherited all of that lawsuit shit. And then what would the sickos have done? They'd have backed him up, man. So anyways, Orton's calling for backup and everybody's speculating on who it is. And here's Brian's thoughts on this. And I actually didn't listen to this clip, so let's find out what they say together.
I finally talked to somebody with a brain. They said something profound to me, made me understand who I am, what I am, why I did what I did. I am a killer, he said. Wrestling had more than one royal family, and the crowd cheered everything that he said in this promo.
Who's his mentor?
God, should be old Cowboy Bob.
Jim Cornette. Oh, bring Cordy back, dude. Let's fucking go.
Learn, baby, learn. Meltzer Inferno.
He needs to come back with that cast and clobber Cody with it. I don't think it's Cowboy Bob.
I don't think it's Cowboy Bob.
No.
I'm scared of Shane McMahon.
Oh God, no.
Why?
No.
So Dave is like, I'm scared at Shane McMahon, but Shane was going to be in AEW and you weren't scared about anything.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
You dumb
Stupid
asshole.
idiot.
Like, how much more could you stooge yourself in the last 6 months for being a Tony
The
Ball
best guy is Tony Khan.
Holy, buddy. You're exposed. Listen to that. I'm scared at Shane McMahon. Okay, but you were down with it being Shane McMahon and you didn't say I'm scared it's going to be him or try and dispel any rumors when Tony Khan met up with Shane McMahon.
I'm scared of Shane McMahon.
Oh God, no. No.
Well, wrestling is more than one royal family.
That's the Ortons.
No, the line was meant for the McMahons.
No, that's the line in Cody's song. So Cody's
really
always talking about there's more than one.
He really went there. It's about the McMahons. Come on, man. Orton, they're not bringing back fucking Vince McMahon. Now, maybe Shane O'Mac, and then you get in a situation where it's Orton, who knows Triple H really well, and Triple H was his mentor, and Triple H and Stephanie McMahon become the good guys by like standing up to Orton and Shane McMahon or some shit. That could be a good storyline. Or what if he's flat out talking about Triple H and the McMahon Helmsley? Like, what if him and Steph go on screen as like the evil authority again? Which some people might be like, we don't like this or we don't want that. But at the same time, if everybody's booing Triple H when he comes out and the talk around the water cooler in the IWC is like, oh man, Triple H, boo him and triple nose and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, well, let's lean into some heat. Let's get some heat or something. Maybe he's just calling Triple H up to get his back. Who fucking knows? But they could definitely take us somewhere cool with this. We saw it with the Bloodline, and we saw it with The Rock coming back and whatnot. It's the authority figure being something on television is in pro wrestling is something that it's a good trope when done well, and it's a necessary trope in some ways because we're trying to believe it's sports in many aspects. So we have to at least know like the buck stops with it's like the head coach on the hockey team. Everybody knows who the head coach is. If you're a fan of a team, you likely know who the owner is or the GM, but you know who the head coach is and who the assistant coaches are because like, you know who the buck stops with. You need a commissioner, a GM, just a face that runs the place. It's almost a necessary trope. And when I say necessary, it doesn't mean they need to be overly involved all the time or they need to be the evil heel or whatever. But yeah, it could set up something interesting. So Dave fears that it's Shane, but when it was going to be Shane with the Death Riders, he was all for that.
Real family, and that's
weird.
It's not the McMahons, but there's also the Rhodes. Yes. Now Randy is pointing out there's another one, the Ortons. That's what he's saying.
Okay. But then the mentor would have to be Bob.
Sure.
I don't know.
Well, he didn't say he was on the phone with the mentor.
The mentor. Yeah, it's like, Dave, you're a dementor, buddy. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's not like, oh, I have a mentor and now I'm going to have someone in my corner mentoring me. No, dude. He's alluding any references to mentors and shit are because Orton mentored Rhodes, and Orton might call his dad on the phone like, yeah, your dad's going to be someone to give you advice and shit, Dave. Like, you're extrapolating too much. Clearly, he's just talking about the Ortons, like he's a third generation superstar or whatever.
Mentor. He said
second, third. I don't know. I don't remember.
Minded him that there is more than one royal family.
Yeah.
And so it could be anybody. Somebody's going to send him a cast in the mail or something.
I hope it's Booker T and Charmel that pull up. And then Dave can be like, my 63-year-old cousin was going to kickbox her.
I don't know. We'll find out. But hey, we got another mystery. Fans like mysteries. I know that.
Until the bad payoff.
Until the bad payoff. So already it'll be a bad payoff. Did you say until the bad payoff when it was the devil gimmick that they did in AEW for a year? You did not, Dave.
Usually that's the case.
You did not. And also, how is Danhausen for a bad payoff? So they did the box reveal. It was bad in the moment, but in hindsight, and I don't want to sit there and be like, it was purposefully that way. Like, they haven't brought back the dancers and all that shit. And maybe they intended not to, but all I'm saying is this. When you look back at Danhausen's debut, it's almost perfect the way it went down. Even the fans booing. Like, in hindsight, they've managed, I don't know if it's a retcon or this is all just going according to plan, but they've managed to get Danhausen over. And with that fucking debut, it was almost meant to go that way. It's like a bad magician where you're like watching them. It's like Louis J. Gomez doing coke magic. You know, it's so bad. And you can see everything he's doing, but it's like entertaining because it's just funny and you're just you know? So in Danhausen, in retrospect, that debut was like the payoff was actually really good because of how over he's getting and how well they've booked him since in these goofy segments that are working too. If they were like goofy and they weren't working, we'd call it out. However, Danhausen, the payoff in the moment might have not been like $1 million, but so now since then the payoff's been even better because it wasn't so good on the first one in a way. Like they're making it work. They're forced to make it work. And also recently they put Danhausen on the free agent page. So it's like Brock Lesnar, Omos, Obafemi, and then Danhausen in the free agent section on WWE.com. And it's so good. Like they know what they're doing. That's just to pop you. And then you just put him on whatever show and let him have fun. I don't even think he's wrestled yet. And when he does, it's going to be hilarious. If they pull it off right, it's going to be so good. Again, he's going to curse someone. He's going to point at them like as they're about to fight. And then the person's going to be like, what? This is goofy. And then like eat a super kick 1, 2, 3 or some shit. Walk right into someone's finisher 1, 2, 3. And then Danhausen won't even have to have done anything, you know, except for curse someone in the ring. And then eventually we'll see his in-ring work. Danhausen
I finally talked to somebody with a brain.
Not to just mark out about Danhausen here, but he should just get really jacked in the time being as well. For whatever reason, or maybe that'll ruin the character, but for whatever reason, I thought he was going to show up to WWE like in the best shape of his life, but he looks the exact same. And that's not a knock. It works. It works for me. I was a Fanhausen before even AEW. He was in AEW, but yeah, I just I would like to see him get vampiroed up, at least get bodied up like Vampiro in Mexico, you know? Anyways, let's continue. Let's continue along here. I think we have 1 or 2 more WWE things, and then we'll just get into all of the glazing and suffering that Dave's doing. So lastly, here's just Dave getting felted. So Max Power, aka Max Power, you are arguing with DM Meltzer. So I don't even understand the reference. I don't know what DM Meltzer even is, but how funny. It's got to be somebody like making fun of Dave, right? I didn't take the time to look it up. Maybe I should. What is DM Meltzer? I'll look it up on X right now. Elite. I don't know what the handle is. DM Meltzer. Okay, Elite Bias News. That was fast. Dave can't handle facts. So this is somebody with 57 followers that got blocked by Dave already. And yeah, 12 posts. So there you go. Shout this guy out, I guess. And so Dave Meltzer goes, I covered it in depth. Or sorry, DK Meltzer says, oh, right, you reported. You said that in your podcast. Never any mention of Nielsen, but sure, go off. Meltzer goes, I covered it in depth, as did Brandon Thurston. Both of us cited Nielsen as the source. Nothing like a goof who tries to play gotcha without reading. Okay, like a goof? Buddy, you need an editor. Like, you suck at tweeting, A. B, a goof. Like, that's what I call Dave all the time. Is he listening to PWT Confirmed? Because Dave projects all the time, right? And even when I started saying he projects, and then Dave starts calling himself, I'm the great reflector. That's what he said in a tweet. I'm the reflector they can't handle. The old podcasting grifters. He calls Eric Bischoff and shit. We know he's listening to Bischoff and shit, calling them old podcast. Well, that's what you are. You're literally grifting off WrestleMania. What the fuck are you talking about? So Dave calling someone a goof, I mean, that's very Canadian of you there, buddy. I don't know, Lex. What do you think? Yeah, I don't know. I'm with Lex on this one. I don't know. I think he's listening to Phil Marks confirm. But anyways, he goes, in your case, you don't even have to subscribe because a simple Google search will give you the bare bones stuff on that. Yeah, none of this matters because Dave responded to this person trolling him and then blocked him, and he has 57 followers, which, I mean, let's face it, those are the accounts you block when they're, when they're talking shit. But why? I don't know, Dave. I don't get why you see that name and then don't realize, oh, this guy's just clearly fucking trolling. You know what I mean? It's like the Tony Khan guy that comes into chat and is like, oh, everything's great. And his name's Tony Khan, WON or whatever. It's like, imagine if we took anything he was saying other than seriously, apart from his jokes, you know, that would be ridiculous. That would just be fool's behavior. So, let's move along here. So now for the rest of the show, for the rest of the evening, Dave is going to talk about a couple things. He's going to talk about the Dynamite he went to, the chemistry between Fletcher and Bailey, which again, I called it. I was like, guys, he's going to give this one 5, maybe 4 to try and be fair, but I think it'll be 5. I think he gave it 5. And he said it was the greatest Dynamite of all time. Meanwhile, we have the photograph of him kneeling on his knuckles, taking a nap. And he's also going to talk about Will Ospreay. He's going to cope over the Ricochet situation. He's also going to cope over Ronda Rousey because let's face it, he fucking didn't like her before when she's in WWE. And then now he's like, oh, it's a strategic alliance and shit. Like he's naming a fucking WCW faction or something. That sounds like an old NWA faction. The Strategic Alliance. So let's start with him doing Dynamite Part 2. Davey does Dynamite Part 2, the sequel. And here is Dave Meltzer recapping Fletcher and Mike Bailey. Bryan gives his thoughts. And it's funny because he felt what we felt watching it at home. And then Dave was asleep in the crowd, but he says it was the best ever. I don't know. We know that the best guy is also Tony Khan.
Great. The best guy is Tony Khan.
But his favorite wrestlers, his new Ospreay and Omega, are Bailey and Fletcher.
The Bailey match with Top Fletcher was just, what can I say? I mean, seeing it up close was so impressive because there's little things up close that you don't notice really from television. And Mike Bailey is
yeah, like how the kicks miss and how phony the fucking punches are.
You know, I mean, I've seen him live up close for years and years and years. Don't get me wrong, but maybe never with somebody as good as Kyle Fletcher, but he is just, all of his stuff looks so good. Like he is so impressive. I mean, he may and probably will never be a top guy. But
what the fuck does that even mean? Oh my God. He'll never be a top guy. I'm more of a top-bottom guy. So I start at the top and then I take bottom position. Bryan, what are you talking about, man? A top guy. So there's a top guy, then there's a top guy. And then now there's top guys. Tippy top, which only surpassed by Tippy top, which is at the top of the fucking spectrum there.
God, he is great. And Fletcher will be a top guy. And he already
so Fletcher will be a top guy. So Bailey won't be a top guy. He might be a top guy, maybe a top guy, but not a top guy, but Fletcher's a top guy. Okay, got it, Dave.
Really is.
The fuck does that mean? What kind of analysis is that?
Yeah, I can just imagine, you know, as at the level he's at right now, you know, barring a crippling injury, I mean, he's going to be.
Dave, why are you putting that out in the universe, Dave? What are you doing? God damn it! Stop it! Okay, stop it, Dave. Jesus Christ, we saw it for ourselves. You don't need to fucking make all this shit up.
No. The man of this generation.
That's like telling an actor, oh, break a leg. Dave, don't saying shutout before the fucking guy. Fletcher was just dropped on his head. He just avoided that. Don't put that out there in the universe, for fuck's sakes. The new Hayabusa almost Hayabusa'd himself. recently. I don't know if you guys saw. It's like, yeah, that's the wrestling gods telling you don't dress up like this motherfucker and do a lion salt because some shit's gonna go bad. I don't even mean to be morbid about it, but Jesus Christ, Dave, don't put that out there. Crippling injury. Whoa, we're just Jesus Christ, man. But you get all offended when we point out how that could happen just a while ago.
You know, come 5 years from now, I think, you know, I mean, maybe if he stays in AEW, maybe he won't be as famous as
Triple top. Triple top Dave and triple cup tone. We need a triple top Dave song. Pronto. Chat, get on that one. Send it to me.
Braun Breaker, but he's way better than Braun Breaker, though. I mean, it's not even close.
Oh my God. And then just burying Braun Breaker. Why? Oh, he's way better than Braun Breaker. Dude, they're just two completely different guys. And Braun Breaker can actually cut a promo and wrestles top, tippy top guys. I'm sorry, but Bailey and Fletcher, thus far, they have to rely on two things: doing crazy ass shit to get people invested. Okay? Braun Breaker doesn't even need to do that. So, but I don't want to bury any of these guys either. And it sounds like I kind of am lowering one to raise the other, but I'm really just lowering them from where Dave raised them up to and then raising the other so we can meet on I would say if I had a wrestling fed, I would have Fletcher on my roster for sure. If I was like, guys, here's the guys I'm developing. Fletcher for sure. Braun Breaker for sure. Like developing, building up. These are my mid to they will be the future. Mike Bailey might be one of them. I don't know about the future. He'd be like he wouldn't be a tag guy for me. He'd be kind of where he's at in AEW though. Like a mid. He could have bangers, but he wouldn't take Fletcher to the max like that. Maybe once, you know, you get a feud out of it and then the payoff, like their big match, they go to the max like that. It wouldn't just be on like a fucking Dynamite, but yeah. I don't know. It was a great match. I thought up until they did like 4 extra false finishes and I was like, what the fuck? And Fletcher always does that, and I think it only diminishes him. And Speedball's okay to do that. Because like he doesn't always do that, but he'll wrestle Ospreay and they'll do that. He wrestles Josh Alexander and they'll do that. But I think I've seen matches where he just hits his fucking, you know, when he hits that like shooting star double knee or whatever the fuck, it typically is over, I'd say. If memory serves correct.
The Bailey match.
But yeah, he just loved this match. Here's more thoughts after just burying Fletcher and Bailey kind of by saying they won't be top guys, or one of them will be top, but one of them's a bottom guy. Or maybe that's just his fantasy. And then he's saying Braun Breaker. So what's Braun Breaker? Is he going to be a top guy? And he isn't as good as them, but he will be a top guy, Dave? Or what are you saying? Is Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi top guys? Then what the fuck is Roman? A tippy top guy?
These guys have chemistry like I couldn't believe. I mean, they reminded me of like watching Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi years ago. Stuff that they pull off. That Mike Bailey, I mean, you know, he is so fantastic and creative. And Fletcher, you know, I mean, he's probably going to be the best worker in the business. He's
probably going to be the best worker in the business very, very soon. What does that mean, Dave? To become the best worker, Dave, there's a level of psychology that goes into that. Kyle Fletcher, he does have good psychology. He also is, again, I don't blame the boys for this. They're wrestling for Tony Khan. They're wrestling to impress Tony Khan, and they know what. So, yes, he does have good psychology, although he could have better psychology. He could tell Mox, no, old man, you're not dropping me on my fucking head. Right? And he really can wrestle. He can slow down the pace. Yes, he's a good wrestler. But when Dave's like, he's probably very soon will be the best worker very soon. Why? Because Ospreay can't do Phoenix splashes anymore? Like, what are you talking about? To be the best worker, Randy Orton's a better worker, and Fletcher will tell you that. Miz is a better worker, Dave, and Fletcher will tell you that. When you say worker, Dave, And you make up these fucking terms and you try and change what they mean. He made up the term gimmick talker for Danhausen. He's just a gimmick talker, Brian. Gimmick talker. Fuck does that even mean? Everyone's a gimmick. And right? What the fuck are you talking about? So Fletcher's going to be the best worker at like what? Doing backflips or letting guys suplex him off the top rope? What does that mean, man? Randy Orton's a better worker, and that comes with psychology. You want to preserve your body. It doesn't mean be lazy. Doesn't mean some people's gimmick can't be like, I'm the flippy guy who does the dangerous shit. It doesn't mean some people's position shouldn't be, I'm the shooter guy who fucking lays shit in and lets people kind of hit me a little bit harder than the next guy, right? Doesn't mean that can't exist, but it's like, the worker, what do you mean by that? Yeah, it's just, we know what he means. It's just moves. But when you say that, it's like, okay, fucking AJ Styles is a better work. It could dust the fucking gloves off right now and be a better worker. And I'm not trying to knock Fletcher, but when Fletcher's 40, he'll be the best worker. He could be the best in the world, but it's not going to be very, very soon. Dave's like tracking it by match. Yep, this match at this moment, he is the best worker. Io Sky's a better worker, dude. Fuck are we talking about here?
Very soon. He's right up there now already. But yeah, the crowd.
But yeah, like physically doing shit, and he has aura for sure. I know people hate on Fletcher. He can cut promos, and he has aura for sure. Now you have to harness that. He's starting to hone in on what and who he is. Now this is just the truth. He needs NXT to fucking boom, boom. Maybe he could go to the main roster right away. I would just start him in NXT, and he needs NXT to really like blow that shit up into something that could be a Randy Orton level guy, which I hope he does one day, because Tone will not do that. You know, in the wrestling history books, okay, yeah, Fletcher was cool, man. He's one of the best who never tried his hand at WWE. Do you want to be that guy? I don't think Fletcher wants to be that guy. He admires guys like The Miz and whatnot. Shout out Fletcher. I'm a big fan.
Loved this match. I mean, they just were going crazy.
This had by far the most heat of anything on the show.
Oh, it was by far the best thing on the show. There was stuff in here that was just unbelievable. And it's like up close. Mike Bailey, man, that guy, his kicks and his dexterity, man, he's just incredible. The thing I think that was even the most impressive live is dives are just like part of it. Everyone does it. It's almost like expected. It's not even necessarily always a big deal now. Every dive that Mike Bailey did was set up in an amazingly logical way. You know what I mean? You didn't see it coming.
So imagine, Dave, if on an AEW show, he was the only one doing that. Or maybe there's another person way earlier on. There's a pre-show. This was on Dynamite. Sorry, yeah, not the pay-per-view. So imagine, though, if that's what you walked away from this show saying, and I know you're saying that, and we see it too. People, like, I like Mike Bailey, and I'm like, he's good, but people look at it and go, fuck, there 10 guys do that same shit. Will Ospreay came back after his neck injury and did a 450, 635 senton Phoenix splash off the top on the fucking guys on the outside of the ring, not even in the ring, on the outside. His first thing back on his return after neck fusion or whatever the fuck. So everyone's doing that shit. Okay, Ospreay wrestles that vanilla swirl. What does that guy call himself? So he wrestles that guy. That guy does flips and shit. Everybody does flips. Leo Rush was in there flipping around. So imagine if you featured Mike Bailey as a guy and everybody didn't have 14 title belts. And he was a guy who did that. And then everybody looked at it and went, whoa, he's unique because he seriously can flip. But instead, Darby's jumping off shit. You have guys fucking, not taking it seriously, diving through ropes with their hands in their pockets, making it look unserious. I don't know why Dave doesn't understand that. He just said it before. Oh, it's expected. So it's expected when he does it too, to just casual, regular people, normal people, as Dave calls them, which is funny. His words, not mine. We covered that last show. Time cop. But when Mike Bailey does the shit, people just think in their heads like, okay, we've seen this or it's expected, so why would I pop for this? You know what I mean? I hope I'm making this point clear.
These two guys are on that wavelength where just everything.
And it can be and is special when he does it, but fucking it just gets overlooked because no one gives a shit because every fucking Fletcher match, he gets suplexed on his head. So then when it happens, you're not like, oh, every fucking Bailey match, multiple people can do this type of shit. You see it every show. So we don't care. Why does he just said it? Why doesn't he understand it? It boggles my mind, Brian.
It's great. It's fast. It's great. You don't see hiccups. I mean, this one was one of the 3 best matches I've ever seen in that building.
Yeah, so Dave was there half asleep, dreaming of something else that didn't happen, saying it's one of the best matches I've ever seen in the building, Brian. So here's Brian's take. Brian is actually trying to critique this show for Dave Meltzer. And let's take a look-see and a listen to what Brian has to say. And this is a fair critique. Everybody's been saying this. And Tone's been doing more vignettes, more recap stuff, the Jurassic Express bus, going very WWE-ish. And it's funny because if the ratings do turn around like they're claiming they are, and if the sickos start eating it up, then it's what I've been saying this whole time. Y'all just like WWE shit. You just only hate WWE because it's WWE. It's just what it is. I'm sorry. And it makes the show better. Or even if it's not particularly your favorite, it makes the show better and it'll in turn make the pay-per-views better. I assure you, when you have shorter matches. Now, Tone goes in the squash match. He either goes like too quick or too long. That's what she said. Oh, go. I'm over here now. But I do like that he's putting in more squash matches and more like TV timed or TV paced matches. You can tell he's putting in effort, and then you're getting more vignettes and more kind of kiddish. We're the Young Bucks and Jack Perry, and we have a creepy bus. We used to drive around in a creepy bus, but this is a less creepy bus, even though the less creepy bus is kind of creepier. And it's not like a tour bus. It's like a school bus. So it's like, are we trying to pick up kids? The Lex Express was at least like a fucking tour bus that like a rock star would be on or a politician campaigning. But yours just seems like some shit you'd see in a fucking, in one of these black phone movies or some shit, you know, in a fucking dream sequence in a horror film in Weapons. I don't know. Either way, let's get into this. Brian with a fair critique and Tony seemingly listened this past week on Dynamite Time Cop, but I don't think it was as strong of an episode as like a month ago that they were kind of doing. I think he found the right balance. Now he's kind of fucking up a little bit. All good. Let's go.
You know, I watched the show and I think that they could do a much better job recapping things, reminding people of what happened. I went on that cruise. You miss a week of the show and it's just like, too bad. And, you know, the sickos even say it. It's like, it's your job to keep yourself up to date, not their job, which I think is preposterous. Like, it's their job.
Hey, that's an old talking point, though. Like, honestly, Bri, I know you finally nutted up and have the fucking balls to call them out on because there's so few of them remaining, and they don't really fucks with you either. But that's like the sickos kind of gave up on like, oh, Google it. That's an old thing that got dismantled so many times that they had to give up on it because even they realized some of this shit is like, Tone, explain this. And a bunch of people have fallen off of AEW since its inception. And these were the reasons they cited a long time ago. So Bry's kind of stuck in the past with this one. But the larger point he's making about them pacing the show and recapping and reminding people of shit, it's an episodic weekly TV show. They don't do recaps on fucking name a show. There's not little mini recaps before every episode of Daredevil Born Again that all you fucking marks are about to start watching season 2. Invincible doesn't do quick episode recaps. Really. They didn't do those on AMC for shows for The Walking Dead and stuff. You're full of shit. People just talk out of their assholes. And let's hear Brian.
To let you know, this is the go home show.
Watching a television broadcast should not be a job. It should be enjoyable.
Well, I mean, as a go-home show, I enjoyed it. You know, I watch all of these shows, but I was watching the show kind of thinking the same thing. It's like, it's one great match after another. There's a couple of angles, but mostly it's just like, here's a bunch of bangers. And for a go-home show, You know, if you aren't a regular AEW viewer, I cannot say it was like a great go-home show as far as like making.
Yeah, go-home shows are supposed to sell you on the pay-per-view last minute. And typically they're more story-driven, which is harder to pull off. Because, again, anyone can cop out and just start doing backflips, okay?
You excited for the pay-per-view, especially that press conference thing. But, you know, I'm sure I'll hear about it in the thread today about how.
So Bry couldn't give a fuck. He's like, the show wasn't that good. Dave's like, one of the greatest shows, the third greatest match, one of the top 3 greatest matches, one of the best shows I've ever seen, 5 stars.
I'm an idiot, and it was great, and it's up to the fans to figure this out and this and that.
And he's calling out the sickos here, and good on him for at least trying, Brian, right? So these guys talked about the go-home show. Let's hear them talk a little bit about Revolution itself before the Stinkashay controversy. And right here, we got Dave talking about, before it went down, Revolution going up against the Academy Awards. And Dave's there. He's like, will it affect the pay-per-view buys? No. Nobody watching the Academy Awards is going to watch fucking AEW. And the Rizzler and shit. They didn't even put Hulk Hogan on the fucking thing, on the memoriam thing, let alone AEW. So no, it's not going to. And Dave just lies about the pay-per-view buys, which we're about to expose him for doing as well. So stay locked in.
Like, I don't know what it's going to do from a buy rate perspective. Like, I expect it to do very well. I don't know what very well means right now.
I mean, 140 plus would be very well, but I would say it should be up from, I mean, it should be the highest since All In. But the one thing is, it is head to head with the Academy Awards. And that's, I mean, I actually checked. Last year's Academy Awards was the most watched television show in the United States of the entire year that was not an NFL football game. Yes. So, well over 20 million people. So, it's I mean, other than going against an NFL game, I mean, it's the toughest thing. I mean, it's actually tougher than, remember that night when we were at the pay-per-view that went against like a Game 7 in the NBA.
Yeah.
And they kept the show going so long. I think it was in Vegas, right? Where
yeah.
the show went an extra hour and he kept like all the key matches late because he was hoping to get like.
Now remember, the Academy Awards started at the same time as AEW, and then AEW ended 2 hours after it. And on Twitter, in the Twitter sphere, everybody who was watching the awards was like, this shit went too long. That was the consensus. So Tony Khan went 2 hours longer than that.
Eyes like 3 hours into the show, and I guess it worked, because he's told that story so many times about, the buys after the NBA game ended, and that's why he ran the show so long, so it paid off. And so this one though, I mean, it's pretty much going to be head to head. I mean, I guess there'll be some, they'll probably go, well, they will go longer, I think, than the Academy Awards.
Like, how did he know that too? Well, I mean, you can just predict it. Look at all those fucking bodies on that poster. And so Dave gives his overall recap. Well, before that, let's just dive into it. Brian is trying again. He did not like the MJF match. Again, he's maturing. Bry's like, I guess this is growing up. Yeah, yes, this is growing up.
Brian.
Right? Because he is finally growing up and maturing out of this garbage.
I did not like this.
Contradicts my argument that the old heads are starting to watch, but it's not the old heads. It's just the people who got older with AEW the last 7 years who kind of it's skewing older is all I'm fucking saying. Okay. The people who are into it, it's going to skew older. Younger people are going to stream more, but they're also going to illegally pirate it more. And there's no combating that. And they're also going to fall off and be interested in other shit.
Match.
Dave never addresses those things.
I was actually really enjoying it for about 20 minutes. But by the time it was over, it was just like, I hated it. They did the syringe in the cheek. We had the barbed wire. We had the broken glass. We had barbed wire. We had light tubes. We had a spot where they both got thrown off the stage through like a landmine. This was way too much. This was like when you have all of the crazy we've ever seen in AEW, and then it's like, we got to find a way to make it 2 times crazier.
And that's the problem. And then what's going to end up happening is you're going to have a match where people are shoving pineapples up their assholes and someone's going to fall off some shit and die or something. And I pray that doesn't happen. I really do. But how come Bryan now sounds like Jim Cornette? Okay, he sounds like Jim Cornette.
Learn Meltzer Inferno.
Because this is what everybody knew was going to happen. You can't. What did they do on Dynamite? They flipped a car in a I'm all for it. The Attitude Era, they blew up cars and shit. But when Gabe Kidd fell out of the thing, they laughed at it because they don't care. They don't give a fuck. Because it comes across goofy. It's poorly done. Nobody's serious. Nobody takes Darby Allin serious. He gets zero reaction. He gets absolutely zero reaction when he comes out now. And everybody tried to warn them of that.
Just
this was
in
going to
from
happen.
Phil Marks of PWT. He says, I told you so.
So this match was wild and crazy. And it was like a death match and a collar match all rolled up into one. And then they did the needle spot way too early. And they don't even do it with psychology. You shove the needle through his cheek, then squirt the juice out through his cheek. Oh, it makes a cool effect. Yeah, but it doesn't make sense. So, like, if you injected him with some shit, then his legs went numb. Like, I've seen that done in a death match where it's like, okay. But, and even that's stupid as fuck. But it's like, okay, why would you just stab him with a needle and squirt shit out? That's like a felony offense, pal. You know, it just takes it to this whole other level where it becomes just phony and cheesy and stupid. So the next thing they're going to do is gussets. And then Darby's going to convince Tone to let him do something so fucking stupid that you won't be able to take back. And I get it. ECW would do shit. Yeah, they took it too far. Everybody agrees, like, okay, one of the worst things that happened was like the mass transit. And like the scaffold, the shit with New Jack, where he was like really trying to kill people. You know, that's the level you're going to have to take it to because you're working as if you're trying to do that. So what's the end game here? And then once you tame it back, are you going to lose some of the people who hung on? Meanwhile, you said fuck a casual and turned off all the people who would give it. They're just going to call it WWE Light. Tone just booked himself into a corner. And there's nowhere to go from here. And also, you see the girls on the show doing some of the same shit. And then you see on Dynamite, Darby Allin and Gabe Kidd do some shit, gets no reaction, a coffin match, and it's unsanctioned in the middle of the show. None of this shit makes sense. There's no rhyme or reason. This doesn't get MJF more over. And they're just doing it to entertain Tone and Dave. I swear
Let's go 2 times crazier than anything you've ever done. For 45 minutes, 3 hours and 40 minutes into the show, and I was just like, when it was over, I was like so down on this when it was over because it just feels like they feel like they're as hot as they have been in years. And
I just disagree, buddy.
Just feel like
you guys just keep saying they're that hot when no one fucking thinks they're that hot. You're not hot, just get off at the pot. Tone.
Tony's always like right there, man. He's right on the cusp, and then he just can't help himself.
So I'm right. You blocked me for no reason. You're just stealing what I've said for the last fucking 3 years. Is that what's happening, Bri?
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
So we agree. So unblock me then.
Let's go till 12:30.
No, it's better this way. It's better this way.
On a work night and a school night with this ultra violent that even Paul Heyman would be like, whoa, brother, pump the brakes, dude. This is way too crazy.
Yeah, man. See, literally
I
the
did not like this
ECW
match.
thing too, bringing up ECW because it's like some of the craziest shit that everyone agrees that's too crazy that happened in ECW was like out of Heyman's hands, like New Jack carving people. I was like, what is he supposed to do? Teleport instant transmission in front of the blade and save New Jack, or onto the scaffold and save him from hurling a guy off it and going, I was trying to kill him, you know? You can't really control that. So even some of the most hardcore shit in ECW, it's like, yeah, I don't know. Some of the dives Heyman could have not, but everybody ended up like Devon used to dive off some tall ass shit. His hips are fucked. That's a choice he made. Fucking Hogan's hips were fucked. RIP, and he was just hitting a leg drop in the ring. So, you know, that can happen numerous ways, right? He made his choices, but like, this is people willingly doing shit that is going to just end up bad, and everyone's going to go, told you so. So they talk more about AEW feeling like a hot promotion, Brian. Hot, hot, hot. Top, top, top. Hot, 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 Brian. It's not hot. I mean, it's a hot promotion. It's not. It's hot, hot right now. It's not hot, 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 Brian, but it's hot right now.
Long term, you're crippled the character because he's a top guy, and you know the idea that he can never challenge for the title, or you can just rescind the stipulation.
And that's what Tone already did. Tone was like, it's just a gentleman's agreement. Okay, so and again, I heard fucking rumors a long time ago. Who knows if any of this shit is true?
Allegedly.
That that was a point of contention. Tone wanted to go back on that with Rhodes. Tone wanted him to eventually go back on that you'll never win the AEW world title thing, and Rhodes was like adamant not to. And then when the fans kind of turned on Rhodes, that was kind of thrown in his face. You know what I'm saying? Now that's all hearsay, and I'm not a dirt sheet, and that's like an old ass rumor.
But then you just become like WWE. It's like, then why even do stipulations? Because no one's going to believe in them anymore. So I thought that was a lose-lose, but I've said that from the day the thing happened. At the same time, I do want to say I think this is one of the best shows they've ever done. The match quality was through the roof. I mean, maybe the best match quality of any pay-per-view they've ever done.
Best in-ring quality. Okay. All right. So Dave puts nothing on selling and shit. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe people were selling their asses off. I won't knock anybody selling, but in-ring wise, I don't know. It all blends together. That's the fucking problem. So the Dynamite before this show that Dave attended also had the best in-ring quality, best 3 matches he's ever seen in a building. Fuck.
Just incredible matches, and the surprises, and good moments and bad moments, and a hot crowd. And they felt, like I said on Wednesday, they felt like a very hot promotion.
They got tired. Now, they were hot at the beginning, the first 90 minutes, 2 hours. But after that, the crowd sort of got excited. They were in there. They were locked in for the show, but they definitely tapered off a little bit as far as energy. You could tell, you could feel it. You could absolutely feel it.
I mean, before they were a promotion that had a lot of good wrestling matches that were hot, but the overall promotional vibe, I would not call hot. And
see, Dave is listen to his shitty assessment of AEW. Before they had matches, but the promotion wasn't hot. But now it's like they have good matches and AEW itself is hot. Dave, it's the exact opposite. Okay? AEW is not hot at all. Some of these matches, people are like, fuck yeah. Like, even me. I fuck with Mox and Takeshita even. I fuck with Hangman MJF. Not that match they did. I love Tekla. I like Statlander. Right? So we fuck with the matchups. In the beginning, it was like, oh, healthcare. Oh, for the wrestlers. Oh, yeah, Rhodes, Jericho, the Bucks, Omega. We can see what they can do in America. AEW. That was the vibe of AEW. Oh, man, Punk returned to wrestling in AEW, man. AEW. That was the vibe, dude. It was like, holy shit, AEW, man. They're going to they got this. They're doing the damn thing. Now it's the opposite. Now it's like, oh, AEW, fuck. Yeah, I guess I'll watch that match. Yeah, Bandito Andrade is pretty cool. It's just Dave saying this because he's trying to sell TV companies or something. Meanwhile, he spurgs out and fucking mutes TV executives and agents who try to school him on game. Christ in heaven, Christ on a cracker. I don't know what else I can say, but Dave, like, you're just definitely saying the opposite of everything that's true always.
Before, they were a promotion that had a lot of good wrestling matches that were hot, but the overall promotional vibe, I would never call.
No, fuck, dude. When Danielson and Cole showed up and shit, it was like AEW, dude. They have all these good wrestlers, fucking Bryan Omega. It was like the wrestlers and the pay-per-views all in, dude, all in one, fucking ruled, man. Oh, they got all in now. Double or nothing. That's like they're all in, dude. Oh, all out. They're going all out for all. You know what I mean? It was that the vibe was like, I knock this all the time. They have no like identity anymore. It's like they're just one of the feds featured. AEW is like one of the feds featured on this show that has all these other feds featured on it and their titles and shit and their wrestlers. That's what AEW felt like for so long. Now, I do give them credit. They've been locking in and focusing more on like their core guys, but I just disagree with Dave here. I think it's the complete opposite, man. When they would run TV specials and their pay-per-views, they meant something at the beginning. They had unique stage designs. Remember when Omega hit the not the Omega driver, the one-winged angel off of the fucking thing through the poker chip and all that shit? They had an identity, dude. AEW was hot as shit. The stages look kind of, well, I mean, they weren't all hits, but they tried to make everything look cool. Now it's like WWE light. The venues look just like LED boards, just the same screen from Dynamite with a new logo on it, you know, a new apron. That's it. Nobody's trying anymore. The elaborate, like, big PLEs, but I'm talking like Raw, SmackDown, some of the fucking PLEs as well. They don't go as big for, but they're also big sellouts in WWE, so you got to give them that. But AEW, they don't even try anymore with the set designs. So the identity used to be there. Now it's not. Dave's saying the opposite.
I would not call hot. And now, you know, I mean, you could tell from the opener and throughout the show, this was a crowd that saw this as something really hot. They were into pretty much everything.
Okay. So that's your takeaway, B, as Brendan Shaw would say. So here is the feedback that Dave's getting. Ready? And this shit pisses me off more than anything. Dave goes, the general consensus, the best show ever. Everyone. The best show we ever saw than a shorter show. The feeling was everyone. Our polls say everyone thought the award show, not the award show, the Wrestling Observer Awards were spot on. Everyone thought this show was the very best ever that it's ever been. Dave, stop. You live in a bubble. If you're talking about just AEW fans, I doubt every one of them. And I know if you want to say in general, from the people I've polled, what I saw online and the people in the building, if he was there, was Dave at the pay-per-view too? I'm not sure, but it's like, how do you know? People DM Dave things. He tweets it out. Oh, can I get someone to report to me on matches? So how the fuck do you know if you weren't there? And if he was there, everyone, did you poll every person? How do you know half the people didn't think it was too long and it stank? And Dave keeps saying this with the Observer Awards. Everyone agrees we got it spot on. So when you say everyone agrees you got it spot on, you're not talking about like you and your people who are voting on it and all of this, because they already agree with you. When you're saying everyone, you're talking about everyone else. No, am I wrong? Like, this is how fucking normal people, as Dave describes them, would interpret this. You're talking about everyone, so like everyone, meaning me all the way to you, Dave. And that couldn't be further from the fucking truth. So he likes to speak in absolutes when he's a dumbass. Here's Dave's the general consensus on fucking what Revolution was when it got clowned so fucking hard online And then he's going to lie about the pay-per-view numbers. And I got a couple DMs while we were on the air to add to him lying about the pay-per-view numbers.
The general consensus of people live, they thought it was the best show that they had ever seen. Others thought it was among the best shows they had ever seen.
How do you know that? So he polled people and they went, this is the best show I've ever seen. And then everyone else went, it's among the best shows I've ever seen. It's among us, Brian. Do. Right? What are you talking about?
It was exceedingly well reviewed from the people who were in the building itself. And everyone did mention the length, but at the end of the day, the feeling was that.
So everyone mentioned the length of the show. No, like this is Dave rationalizing it in his own head, then attributing it to everybody. That's what he does all the time.
We'd rather have the best show we ever saw than a shorter show. There is a happy medium. There are ways you can do both. I do not know why.
So was it the best show you've ever seen, or do you wish it was shorter? It can't be both, Dave. You're just making things up. And then you say this to give people talking points so that they can go fucking around parroting the bullshit you say. And this even happened with the Ricochet thing, where he's like, man, do you know that, he hated on Sandy and her MS. And then he's like, do you know the death threats and the hate we get every single day? And it's like, all right, but she didn't do that. And then you saw these sicko accounts going, she harassed his family and his wife and sent death threats. No, she never did that. She's an elderly woman with MS who said his acting was bad. And it is. You can tell by his fucking apology. All right? So Dave does this. He says this, and then just dumb fucks who can't think for themselves go and repeat this shit.
That they don't start these shows an hour earlier, especially on a Sunday. I mean, you can argue on a Saturday.
No, you don't start the show an hour earlier, stupid. You fucking cut off 6 matches and give people, and you cut off 2 of the returns and 4 of the matches. And then you fucking give people something to watch on Dynamite that ties into the overarching storylines. Huh? Imagine that.
That in reality, these shows do not end as late as boxing shows and UFC shows end for Saturday night shows. And so the idea is like, it's good enough for everyone else. Or West Coast baseball games, if you're watching on the East Coast, end much later. There's NBA games, the West Coast game that ends late. I mean, most people just loved.
This isn't NBA. This is a scripted television show. So this isn't the NBA. This isn't UFC, Dave. This isn't football. This isn't any of the things you compare to. It's professional wrestling. Why can't you study and learn the business? I don't get it, man.
Learn, baby, learn. Meltzer Inferno.
Almost everything on the show. The main event match, obviously, very polarizing. It's going to be. There's going to be people who are going to love it.
So the main event was polarizing, which doesn't mean it can't be. Like, for instance, The Rock and Hogan was polarizing for reasons that made sense. But polarizing because it was like, no, I like Hogan. No, I like The Rock. No, he's an icon. No, he's the legend. Right? It's like Superman fighting Batman. It was polarizing in that way. Whereas this match was polarizing because why, Dave? Because some people might think they took it too far and it was a little too grotesque. And even Bryan Alvarez is like, what the fuck? But somehow you extrapolate that this was the greatest show of all time. So this was a polarizing match because it was gory, and some people didn't like that. And it was maybe too long of a show, and many people were tired and thought it was too long. But it was also the greatest show of all time ever because you say so. Okay.
But there's going to be people who are going to hate it. There were.
Okay, Unc.
Everyone, I would say, that gave anything less than a super positive review, if they gave it a thumbs down or a thumbs in the middle, and there weren't many, but those ones who
and there weren't many who gave. So Dave is sitting there pretending like he fucking showed up. It's Squid Games. in order to leave, you must cast your vote, right? And then there's like a thumbs up, a thumbs in the middle, and then a thumbs down. Nobody really voted thumbs in the middle. On what? On the poll on your website, you fucking mark? So your listeners that Brian felted you with when he called out how the pay-per-view numbers are bullshit. Dave's trying to say that the pay-per-view numbers, well, we're going to get into all of that, but he's like, we polled people. Brian's like, we polled people on our site and they say they buy every single pay-per-view. Dave's like, nope, the numbers indicate they're all rotating and it's groups of 4. So there's like a million AEW fans out there who buy pay-per-views, but they just take turns one at a time, or they rotate in groups or whatever the fuck he's trying to convince people of. He's cooked. It's cookie mode.
I would say that every single one, it was not because of the length of the show. It was because of the main event. Now, the people who loved the show.
And then Dave is sitting here saying that everyone he polled or everybody he had write down with a pencil on their way out of the building, now he's telling them what he's attributing a reason to their thumbs in the middle vote. I'm telling you that it was all because of the length of the show, not because of the main event. How do you know that for certain? You're just making things up what you want it to be and then saying it.
Many of them loved that match. So like I said, it goes both ways. You know, evidently
goes both ways, B.
It was like this all-time great show if you were there live.
An all-time great show if you were there live, but you polled the people and there were a bunch of thumbs in the middle and there were a bunch of people who didn't like it and said that it was because the main event was gory and the length of the show. But it was also the all-time greatest show you've ever been.
You know, poor people don't like AEW.
This is who people like defend and shit. I just don't get it, you know? It's crazy. It's so funny to just milk this fool for lulz. This cow for lulz, dude. It's way too funny. So on the topic of Revolution, you know, Ospreay returned, and here's Dave's take on that because, you know, he's going to sweep for that as well.
So we had a Will Ospreay video package. He made his surprise return, hits the full twisting moonsault to the floor, almost smashes his head on the freaking apron as he's doing it. He's back, man. He's out of his mind. He's out of his mind.
I hope he knows what he's doing. Him just coming back and doing the visual was enough. He needs this.
So WWE's good, and it's not infant slop, and Dave's begging for whatever, and it just proves that Ospreay can't embrace the grind, and he has to rest on his laurels and just do crazy ass flips to get over. Even his return, he has to do a crazy ass flip and almost land head first on the apron because that's how he gets over. And he rushed his return when they don't even need him for 3-4 months. And he's not even in crazy good shape. He looks to be physically, not to body shame him, but he looks in worse shape than he did before he came back. And that's not like, I'm not shitting on him. You know, he's an incredible athlete and all these things. I put Ospreay over enough, but like, come on. Now Dave is sitting here just like, oh, he doesn't need to know anything. He doesn't need to know how to get over. He can just, before Dave actually said that he doesn't need to do flips and shit. He can just rely on like slowing it down and all this stuff. And it's like, okay, then are you still going to give him 5 stars? Because he doesn't sell as good, can't slow a match down as good as Roman or Orton or a fucking, you know, he doesn't sell better than a fucking Drew, for instance, or any of these guys. So like, what are we talking about? And yeah, he just has to do these goddamn flips. And now Dave's like, oh, I hope he knows what he's doing. Yeah, he's doing this to get 5 stars from you, idiot. I hope you know what you're doing, Dave, because you were doing this to him.
Just don't want this reoccurring.
You're the reason Tone's giving this guy $1 million to do this shit, and he might fucking wreck his brain and his neck. I don't know if WWE would have cleared this guy.
Thing all in felt like pushing it, right? But doing like showing up, cool. When they played his music and he showed up, even if he just ran down there and chased him away, I mean, that's fine. But he did a lot of physicality. And
he did a full twisting moonsault off the post to the floor.
I know.
God.
I mean, do you think anyone thought he would do that this week? I mean, in January, he couldn't do anything, like literally anything.
So they're rushing him back, and they want us. This is the problem too, and I'm just calling it out. And again, this goes back to me saying like Ospreay's not super jacked up or anything. This is why what I'm saying is important, and especially in 2026. Okay, bro? Whoa! This is a really fair criticism, but it's a really real criticism. I don't think anybody else is going to point out. Dude, they're all like, he's a Super Saiyan. He came back. He was in the fucking hyperbolic time chamber and came back, and he's like fucking, he's the super specimen who rushed his recovery. Sorry, guys. StreamYard kicked me. That was fucked. It just booted me out and wouldn't reload. Anyways, so my critique of Ospreay here as everybody stopped watching the show. It's like, if they're saying he's a Super Saiyan in the fucking hyperbolic time chamber, he speed ran his recovery. We don't see that in his physique. We don't see that in how he works. He just fucking flipped off of a fucking thing. Like he always does. His physique isn't crazy. His fucking delts aren't crazy. He's not looking like $1 million. He doesn't look like John Cena when he speed ran that fucking Rumble recovery. We're not seeing any of that. So pretty much it just looks like this guy rushed to get back to the ring when he doesn't need to do that. Dave's admitting, he couldn't even do anything, Brian, 6 months ago. And he couldn't even do anything. He couldn't do anything in January, literally anything. And now he's like flipping through the air already, having a match on Dynamite. Granted, it was like a squash match, more or less. And then you look at the fact it's like All In's coming up in how many months? You could have still waited. You could have told him, no, Ospreay. If Tone was like a real leader, like a real fucking guy.
The best guys, Tony Khan.
Tony Khan could have been like, stay at home. We don't need you for another month or two. Tony, speaking of speed running, Tony Khan speed run rushes the booking for every fucking thing he does. He just crams it in last minute, seemingly. So why didn't he just wait to have Ospreay on the fucking card when they needed him in like a month or two and then build up to it? Why not give him more time to recover? In 2026, it's not like I'm body shaming the guy, but it's like, dude, you can buy over-the-counter shit that would be banned in UFC, that isn't bad for you, that isn't a performance enhancer even. It's just shit. Listen to Joe Rogan, okay? You get on that fucking alpha brain. No, I'm joking, but all I'm saying is this, dude. You can like get really jacked up and juicy and make it look like this return, like you're a machine. You come back and you're all jacked up, like Kenny Omega did that too. I give Danhausen the same criticism. So this isn't like I'm just singling out Ospreay here, but they're like, man, he came back. He just powered through his fucking recovery, and we expect you to come out looking like Goku from the hyperbolic time chamber. You fucking don't, bud. You look the exact same. You actually look worse a little bit than you did. No one wants to see you die in the goddamn ring, dude. So anyways.
6 months from neck fusion surgery. Like, a lot of people can be normal. Yeah. But it's still supposed to be another like 6 months before the bone is fully healed.
Look at how Orton comes back every single time we see him. Yeah, his belly sticks out a little bit, but he fucking comes in juiced up and jacked up. And it's not the 80s where you just stick fucking needles in your ass to do steroids. It's not like that. Okay?
So being out here and doing all of this stuff, I don't think this is a necessary risk, but it's what he's going to do.
I am not his doctor. I don't know what his doctor told him. I don't know how well he's healing, even though I keep up with him. It is amazing what he did. Of course, I wish he didn't do it because he doesn't need to. On his first time, all he needed to do is show up and get the pop and nothing else. Yeah, I'm sitting here screaming at the TV, what are you doing? But if you just want to look at it from an entertainment standpoint and you don't care about his health, he was awesome. I mean,
if you don't care about his health, he was awesome. Listen to fucking Dave one more time.
He didn't do it because he doesn't need to.
He doesn't need to do it. Yeah, he needs to do it. He needs to, and he knows that, or he's just scared to try anything else. And the reason I say this shit is because I'm challenging Ospreay. Like, if you're about it, go to the Fed. Prove you can do it at the highest stage, man. It's just that simple. Otherwise, okay, cool flip. You just talked about the flips Bailey was doing.
First time, all he needed to do is show up and get the pop and nothing else. Yeah, I'm sitting here screaming at the TV.
So it's bad psychology. It's bad psychology.
What are you doing? But
what are you doing? We need that for the soundboard.
First time, all he needed to do is show up and get the pop and nothing else. Yeah, I'm sitting here screaming at the TV. What are you doing? But if you just want to look at it from an entertainment standpoint and you don't care about his health, he was awesome. I mean, seriously, he was awesome.
So Dave marking out again. I'm like, okay, dude, this guy might hurt himself. And then Dave's just like, oh, well, if you don't care about any of that like me, Brian, then who gives a fuck? He can just car crash his body. It fucking ruled. Season so it. And then he sits there and pretends like, oh, it wasn't good that Moxley, the veteran, dumped Fletcher on his head, but 5 stars. It's like, you and Tone reward this shit. You don't care. You admit it then. You don't care about their health. You just want to see wrestlers do flips and then die in the fucking ring, wrestle till they collapse. Will Ospreay claims he'll modify his style.
What's the update?
First thing he does is a Phoenix splash. He does a red arrow off the top or whatever. Fucking liar. And not only that, Dave is like, he'll still be one of the best guys if he does modify his style. Nope. No, he won't. Liar! No, he fucking won't.
On Will Ospreay claims he was cleared. Doctors gave him the okay to return February 25th.
Yeah, he's cleared.
And
he's cleared, and hopefully he's careful. He is going to modify his style.
He is?
He is, yeah, he is. That's what he said. Yeah.
I'm sure he said that, but I mean, I watched his return.
Yeah, he went
I'm
crazy.
not sure he can help himself. Like, I'm sure he believes, I'm not calling the guy a liar. I'm sure 100% that he believes that his plan is to, like, alter his style.
Well, he did.
But I watched his return. Well, I'm not sure he can help himself.
Dave, let him finish.
To a degree, yes. To a degree, for sure, yeah. But I also saw him alter his style after Jericho talked to him. and he became.
No, I saw him alter his style. No, buddy, he didn't alter his fucking style. He just did a couple less top rope maneuvers, maybe. But he has never altered his style. It's the exact same, Dave. You're not seeing anything we aren't. Okay? And he can't sell. So now he's not getting the 5 stars from you. Now Tony's less impressed. Alter his style. I mean, it'll still be physical and crazy and better than anyone in the world. Why? Because he's still going to do dangerous shit like this. Not that you can't ever do dangerous shit like this. But Mike Bailey already does this shit, so why do that to get over? And we know Ospreay doesn't sell. He doesn't pace a match. The psychology behind his shit, even his return. Look at the way he was booked on Dynamite. A quick match, gets jumped and beat up, and then the Bang Bang Gang make their entrance, and then he jumps and beats up a guy and runs off. Everything has zero psychology and isn't formatted well and isn't booked well with him so far since his return. It's just as bad as it was before he left. Literally the same shit. It's the same type of like wonky. Is it over? Is it not? He's going to grab the mic and make an impassioned speech in the next like week or two. Watch. And he's going to go back to that. And he's going to be like, bro, I am AEW, bro. He's going to do that in like a week or two because people are going to criticize that last Dynamite shit, Dave. And it's like, even if he mods his style, he's not, so he's going to get 3-star matches from you, or he's going to have to rely on doing the fucking flips. Because if he tries to go Roman Reigns pace, he can't do that as good as Roman or Orton. Look at Orton's pacing in the fucking chamber. How he just came in, like literally fucking just where he was, where everyone was for him to, operating on that level. Can Ospreay do that and be over like Orton, where he hits the comeback? He just comes out of the pod, hits the comeback, they go into the finish pretty much. No, Orton did a couple more things than that, but it was like pretty much that, right? He just does this fucking clothesline, power slam, fucking double DDT. They go into the fucking finish pretty much. It's like, and the crowd was just there for it. Oh, going nuts. Can he do it at that level? That's what should get Orton 5 stars. That's the worker. When I talk worker, you got to be able to do that too. You know what I'm saying? Anyways.
I'm a much better wrestler when he did. Hopefully, he wrestles smart. Because, I mean, like, athletically, he's still, I mean, like, he went out there. That's pretty, I don't know if it's his I mean, I'm sure he's true.
I don't know if
hopefully, he wrestles smart. Because, I mean, like, athletically, he's still, I mean, like, he went out there. That's pretty, I don't know if it's his I mean, I'm sure he's trained.
Let's go. Oh my God, Dave, what are you trying to say, buddy?
Or, the young superstar, babyface, the former heel thing.
So first off, he goes, hopefully you wrestle smart. So meaning all the dumb shit you go, clap like a baby for isn't smart. And yes, some of the things like high angle German suplexes and shit aren't that smart, but they're some of the coolest. Diving through an announce table isn't that smart, but it's one of the coolest things in wrestling. I get that. But taking it to this level where he's already squished his neck. People forget, man, he squished his neck already on the apron on like a Spanish fly in Japan and shit. And then he's doing the fucking tiger driver. They work it into an angle where it's like dropping people on their heads. And then he's doing doomsday devices to the outside on Collision, diving fucking doomsday device. And he's landing on his fucking head. Like, that's what Ospreay's been doing in AEW, buddy, since he's been there. So that's the dumb shit. Like, that isn't working smart. And that's what you're giving the 5 stars to, Dave. And I just need to point that shit out. Because again, and not to bury the Rascals, but they were in that Mile High Mayhem match or whatever. And the Rascals been doing the shit that they're doing in AEW. Dave wasn't going 5 stars, 5 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars. He wasn't giving them 5 stars. But they go and do it with the Bucks and AEW, and now it's 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. So you just love watching the Bucks do their little flip routine over and 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 over again, Dave. That's what that exposes. And just those little fucking things he says. Oh, hopefully you wrestle smart. Oh, so you're a dumbass. That's what I extrapolate from it.
Hopefully, he wrestles smart.
Dummy.
Because, I mean, like, athletically, he's still, I mean, like he went out there. That's where I don't know if it's I mean, I'm sure he's trained in the ring the last couple of weeks. But I mean, what he did, I mean, it isn't just that he did that crazy dive, but the way he moves and everything like that, and that double kick and everything like that. I mean, he's just freaking fast and spectacular, and that goes a long way, you know. So, yeah, I mean, I anticipate he'll probably be wrestling pretty soon.
And then he wrestled the next Wednesday on Dynamite.
What's the update on
how's
Will
Dave
Ospreay?
so spot on with this? Because Tone's talking to him. Tone talks. So also Dave had to cope over Ronda Rousey, who debuted at Revolution, while we're on the topic of Revolution. And this is a cope, and I'll tell you why, and he's saying strategic alliance. That sounds like an old NWA. I know I said it earlier, but it sounds like an old NWA faction. The strategic alliance, Bryan. And Dave here has to cope over Ronda because he's one of these guys that's like, Ronda isn't good for she talks or maybe not good for the business ticket sales wise. He's always defended her in that aspect, but I do believe he's one of these guys that's like, oh, she's not particularly good and blah, blah, blah. She goes to Ring of Honor. She has a match. All the sickos are like, oh, she can actually wrestle. And she's just doing the same shit she does in WWE. And now he's talking about how she's a net positive for AEW, even though she calls it fake and phony. And also, unfortunately, Toni Storm's legit hurt. So now it's like Mina Shirakawa is going to be the one to fight Ronda, or she's stepping up in Toni Storm's place or something. I don't know. This has all gone awry. And you have Ronda Rousey here, and Dave uses the term strategic alliance. Strategy in what way? Hating on TKO? That's what it is. None of these idiots want to admit that because, again, Tony Khan's just marking out
the best
for her.
guys, Tony Khan.
And none of them are going to admit this was a bad chess move here. And I'll tell you why. Because Ronda's currently competing directly with UFC and shitting on Hunter Campbell and these people. You just follow the food chain. Dana White, Ari Emanuel, Hunter Campbell, the Ellisons, fucking Trump, Elon Musk, all these motherfuckers. You follow that Paramount, okay? Now, I know that Ronda's fighting on Netflix. Netflix is in business with WWE too. That's totally fine. Netflix is in business with everybody. When it comes to Paramount and what they're going to do with AEW, so far you have Tony Khan shitting on a bunch of people that are heavily involved and friendly with each other. And now you have Ronda directly shitting on Hunter Campbell, calling out Dana White, calling out UFC, calling out Hunter, all of these things. And Dave thinks that Tone could be like, oh yeah, well, if you fucking put AEW on Paramount or keep it on TNT, the Jaguars do it or else we'll take the Jaguars away. Jaguars. Like, what's the play, Dave? What do you think the play is that Tone could pull off where he could levy the NFL against the UFC and TKO and everything else they have going on? And the Ellisons and the relationship with Dana White and the TKO board and Triple H and all of these, Nick Khan, I always forget to mention him, Ari Emanuel, all of these people, dude, that Tony's like talked shit about flat out, called them all Harvey Weinstein, called people bald assholes. It's just craziness, man. He's such a he backed himself into a corner. And then Dave sits there and goes, strategic alliance. She's shitting on TKO right now. So is that the strategy is let's shit on TKO because we're going to sneakishly get on Paramount when all things are said and done. They're going to renew us and then we'll be alongside the UFC and everything. We're going to stick it to WWE because we're going to be on with the UFC. Like, what is the plan? None of it is good optics. Paramount gets a hold of you, then they just bury you and don't give a fuck, and you're on their streamer and they just, is that what happens? You think they're going to do AEW lead-ins to fucking UFC fights? They did that before on Spike TV with TNA. It didn't turn out so well. I don't think UFC liked that. They didn't, in fact. They hated it because what they do is legitimate and shit. And Yeah, I don't know why Dave keeps a strategic alliance. No, I think it's the opposite of that. It's strategic in that you're going to pop the news cycle a little bit, or you're going to get AEW virtue signaling fans mad at you because they're trying to cancel Ronda for past comments. And I literally have no idea what she even said. I don't even give a fuck. Okay. At the end of the day, whatever the fuck she said, leave it alone. Like, I'm not for like Brian Kendrick talks conspiracies and then they cancel him because he fucking, even if it is insensitive, he's like, dude, I was like in my 20s then or whatever. I fucked up. I was a dumb kid. My bad. That's all it should take. Even with Ricochet, with the MS comment, he shouldn't be fucking like fired and banished and shit. Now, if that's the way they want to go with it, okay. If his rhetoric was like inciting violence or like he's on some Kanye West shit, okay, I get it, right? I understand why you might want to distance yourself from that. Totally. Otherwise, it's like, all right, man, people are entitled to their opinions or their fucking, or whatever she said. I don't even know what she said on some Trey Miguel shit. And again, it's just the reason why it gets brought up, though, and the reason why I have to bring it up is because, like, why is Trey Miguel gone? And Jay Briscoe wasn't allowed on TV, but Ronda's here, and it's just turning more and more of your fans off, and they don't realize that either. So we have to point it out, you know? Anyways, here's the Strategic Alliance, which is the Death Riders' new faction name.
Ronda's got a big vendetta against TKO and UFC. It's good for them to have a strategic alliance with her because in the real world, you know, I mean, whether wrestling fans like her or not, in the real world, her name carries a lot of weight. And if you don't think so, I mean...
And listen to how he talks about normal people. That's what he says about people who aren't in his bubble. In the real world. Guys, if you listen to Dave, I implore you, like, take what I'm saying seriously right now. He thinks so little of you. He thinks he's like sitting in a bubble looking down at you guys and he can like manipulate and influence and control your narrative. Like, you know, he's Uwatu the Watcher. Well, he's not really the Watcher. He does interfere. That's the problem. He's Uwatu the Watcher, but like his code of ethics is the complete opposite. Right? Like he does intervene and try and fucking not meddle when it benefits him and his narrative and then meddle when it does. Or, you know, but much like Uwatu, when he does interfere, typically a greater cataclysmic event spawns off of it, and Dave ends up getting felted and roasted for it. But yeah, let's continue.
Sales for the fight. Answer your question. You know about in the right is she a draw? She's a draw right now, and even if she wasn't,
she's a draw right now. It's Ronda fucking Rousey, buddy. Like
with TV executives,
with TV executives. See, it's a sales pitch. It's him convincing dummies. So they go and their 5 bot accounts all go, oh man, blah, 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 blah. And he thinks he's going to convince TV executives by having a bunch of sickos parrot this shit. Hey, how about if you welcomed casuals and your fan base didn't go, fuck a casual for 6, 7 years? More people would want to watch and more casuals would watch, and then you wouldn't even be sweating it. Now, the initiative is play it cool, man. Everyone play it cool. That's what Tone told Dave to do. That's what Tone told everyone to do. This is why he last minute is rolling out my AEW. He's last minute all of a sudden co-opting the media like harder than we've ever seen before, the dirt sheet media, shill media. It's so evident. It's never been more fucking evident than it is now. And yeah, this is all happening because it's not reactionary. All of a sudden, he's trying to actually do something with Ring of Honor again and he didn't do it before TNA got a TV deal, so he could try and get an ROH TV deal for what reason? Huh. And with the new studio with ROH, that means he locks in, actually has to guarantee these shows, because if my AEW gets rolled out everywhere, then he needs a reason to. He needs to put a shitload of content on there, and he has to give people a reason to make sure that they go there to watch shit. Like, it's so obvious what's happening right now. And yeah, Dave's a dummy.
And carries a lot of weight. I mean, WWE.
And I encourage it. My AEW is actually a good concept. He should have did that from the start.
I'm not saying she was the reason WWE got the SmackDown deal, but we all know that she was, I mean, when Fox was bidding for it, I mean, the two people they cared about the most were Ronda Rousey and Brock Lesnar. And that's years ago and everything. But in that world, I mean, she means a lot more than anyone else in AEW by far. So,
just buries AEW, but that is a truth. Here's the only thing though, right? Ronda is like, yeah, she's a draw and she gets eyeballs and shit. But in AEW, we've already seen it online. And AEW fans are mostly, I would say, the online ilk, right? There's more casuals of WWE fans. So obviously in AEW land, there's more fans that are locked in on the net and whatnot. I don't know if this is going to play out. And I've said it before, like if John Cena went to AEW, maybe they'd hit 1 million again, but would they actually? Maybe they'd hit 1 million again, but I don't know, man. I don't know if anybody went there, they'd be able to change perception. Like at this point, it's like TNA where Bobby Lashley can show up and it's not going to do a whole heck of a lot of a difference for you. And you might end up on the Pop Network or whatever, Destination America or whatever, right? So, yeah, I don't know if Dave's take is on with this.
She's around and has an affiliation. It's probably a positive for the company. I don't think she'll ever be around a lot. And, but if it's something here and there, would she help Marina? Probably. What happened with Shayna Baszler becomes interesting. I mean, it was maybe the big shock of the show.
It was maybe the big shock of the show. There you go. The shock master of the show. No, I'm just joking. I like Ronda. I'm not shitting on her. Like most people are going to do. I actually think it is a good thing they got her in AEW, but they have to book it correctly. They never end up doing that. Speaking of not being booked correctly, Dave Meltzer, and this is his take after Dynamite, but it relates to Revolution because it has to do with after Swerve's win over Brody King at Revolution, which I don't think was the right move. Here we go. Let's take a listen to this. And even Dave is confused by what Tone's doing.
I did not like this Dynamite at all.
Mm-hmm.
Dynamite has a promo with Kenny Omega where he says that Swerve is now the #1 contender after beating Brody King.
Mm-hmm. And Swerve was not aware of this.
I was like, what are you talking about? And then he challenges him to put the #1 contendership on the line.
Right, because Omega's an EVP, and they forget this, and there's not even like a writer. I get it. People are like, the writers fucking ruin wrestling. Maybe I think kayfabe being dead is what hurt it more than anything, and writers are able to at least give you compelling week-to-week television. Like you don't get the bloodline entirely without people pitching their ideas, and I'm sure somebody looking over it and punching it up a little bit, and like them pitching ideas, they might come from outside the box. And I'm not saying writers should be as prominent as they were back in the day. And I think that sort of thing is less prominent. Like if you want to believe Unreal, it's like Triple H, Heyman, Road Dogg, right? Like it seems like people who kind of got their fingers on the pulse a little bit better or have been in the ring teaming up with guys who are at least pitching good ideas. This is all I'm saying. I'm not for the team. So even though Kenny Omega went on a spiel about how he is not an EVP and doesn't have EVP responsibilities and anything like that, Now he's just like, I'm an EVP, so I'll just be the one to inform you you're the number one contender. Because why, chat? This is what we talked about earlier. Your boy Phil brought this up earlier. The GM. You need somebody in charge. Tony just randomly, when MJF asks him, because that's his little golden pony boy, okay, when MJF asks him, that's when he will pop on screen quickly and do a little segment. But at the same time, there's no authority figure, not even like Big Show, who's like, I'll just nuclear punch you out with my big right hand if anybody crosses the boss, and I'm running things and keeping order here in AEW. Nothing. They've never even tried anything like that. Tony Khan comes out when the Bucks want to pile drive him. Pause.
Line.
Yeah.
And then Swerve does his promo and goes, apparently I'm the number one contender.
He was not aware.
So
that was interesting.
Booker of the fucking year, buddy.
Stupid
Booker
idiot.
of the year. Booker of the year.
Okay, so if we're going by the idea that they do a match next week
for the number one contendership, the winner should in fact be getting the next championship shot. Yes.
So Swerve is losing.
Why should they be? There's no rankings. There's no records. No one explained this. There's no authority figure. Dave with his head cocked to the side, all flagrant. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, the little Valley girl prissy. Oh yeah, Bryan, I'm the authority figure. He's the authority on this. He's the GM. Dave Meltzer, the GM of Dynamite, or what?
This is great.
Oh my goodness.
One contendership that he didn't know he had to Kenny Omega.
Perhaps. I mean, if he loses, yeah, or he's winning and he's getting a title shot, one or the other.
Why didn't they just announce that next week they were going to have a match for the number one contendership, and then Swerve could say, "I wanted you to put your." Is that why they invented this number one contendership? Because now Swerve has to have something on the line
against Omega, having something.
Yes, because when Tone can't just give you a belt, and all the other belts that he promised people belts, every champion that he promised a belt to, that has a belt. There's 13 belts, but instead of Swerve having a belt and having it mean something, or just being able to tell a fucking story, it's always just, this is on the line, this is on the line, this is on the line. Hangman, oh, my thing's on the line, because even their title doesn't mean enough to where his world championship's got to be on the line as well. Two things on the line. Now that works, but you're overdoing it. We just saw two things on the line, Hangman, MJF. Now it's two things on the line, Swerve, Omega, because it's the number one contendership. Or it's like, here's something on the line, pardon me, that fucking someone's got to have something on the line, even when it's just two guys with a fucking gripe against each other. So stupid. If you want the number one contender thing to mean so much to where Swerve, why did he dim the lights to talk about this? To make it all poetic, man.
On the line?
Yes. Because they just made this up out of thin air.
Yeah. Well, he did beat Brody King, and they were both going for the
Brody King was in the fucking tag division
championship.
I know, but
they were going for the championship.
Like on Saturday, why was that not built?
Brody's been in fucking squash matches. All he's been in is squash matches.
Built up as a number one contenders match.
I don't have any good reason for that.
Exactly. So then stop defending it, Dave. Just say, I don't have a good reason. That's the
No. I mean, it could have been.
Did something change between last week and this week, and all of a sudden they realized they should have had that stip there, or like?
I don't know.
Instead of just, he always just cops out, I don't know. I didn't ask Tone. But you'll give everything 4 stars and be like, oh, the Booker of the Year, and help promote how Tone's the Booker of the Year because it's such a hot promotion. Just say, yeah, it doesn't make sense. This is like, I mean, the show is really bad. It just gets lost in the sauce.
He had Cuervo with him the whole time, too.
But he can't do that, dude, because he's got to hype up how good this all is and all. But Swerve and Kenny, they're going to have another banger, Bryan, because Kenny had to go to Japan. So Tone's brilliant booking was to have Swerve beat Brody King to get to Omega after Omega already fucking lost to Swerve or whatever the fuck before he went to Japan because he couldn't be on Revolution when we could have just made him be at Revolution instead of at the Capcom Cup cosplaying like a cuck. Say that 3 times fast. And instead, Dave's just going to be like, I don't know. I did not. Let me ask Tone later, Bri. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I should know these things, shouldn't I, Bri? So, so Dave Meltzer, man, he gets caught up lying. He's so caught up. Can't feel me. He's caught up. He's lying like Bryan about the fucking AEW Revolution ticket sales. So, Dave is like, did the stip draw? Yes. So he's putting it on the stipulation, pretending it's this big ass draw. What was the stip for Raw the following night in WWE if they're closing the gap? What was the stip that made Raw draw 3,000 or 4,000 more tickets than fucking Revolution did? And it's their weekly show and not a right. Did the stip draw? I don't know, Dave. How big of a draw was it? It was a good house for them now in this year. Is it closing the gap when they're this stip that drew less than a fucking Raw the next? I just don't know, man. I don't know. Both were school nights, buddy. I don't both were work nights, bud. So here's Dave talking about how good the ticket sales are and are going to be. Or I mean, not the ticket sales. Pardon me. Rewind that. Whoop, 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 whoop. This is Dave talking about how well the pay-per-view did. And then the estimations were, and I thought I had it goddamn bookmarked in here, Revolution pay-per-view buys. I thought I did. There was a number. We had a quote. So here we go. Yeah, that's bookmarked, and we'll just jump over here when it's time. So here's Dave Meltzer's take on it. I have a couple DMs I received while live on the air that fit perfectly with the narrative of this next little bit here. And also we have Dave Meltzer's quote on how many buys that he thinks it actually did. And I called out that this was going to happen. I also brought Switchblade's live tracking back in. I know we covered this on PWT Live Show. We're going to redo it. We're going to run it back like a Jey Uso Yeet entrance. We're going to run it back for this DMDMW here. So let's take a listen to Dave and his, I think this is just like a prediction at this point, or he cops to it being a prediction in one of these like screen grabs I got over here that I'm going to show you guys. Either way, let's dive in. We are going to catch Dave red-handed, more or less, or just ignoring Google Trends, not studying the business when it comes to how these pay-per-view buys work and whatnot. And Dave also just inflates these, how many pay-per-views were sold, like we knew he was going to do. So here we go.
It's a bunch of stuff from AEW as far as that pay-per-view goes. I mean, I don't have any numbers right now, but it did pretty good, like really good. Did the stip draw? Yes. Did it probably draw because Cody never violated it? Probably helped. People probably thought it was serious.
For those of you that think that they're going to abide,
so he's talking about Rhodes?
By the stipulation and that he is never going to challenge for the title again, I don't know what to tell you, but
so like, listen, man, they are just they're admitting that Tone's a bad booker this whole time, right? Because Tone wanted to go back on that stip. That's why they're running it back right now, like a Jey Uso Yeet entrance one more time. And that's why I'm running that one-liner back again as well, okay? He's running it back because he is going to have Hangman break that shit. Rhodes didn't want to break that shit. Dave's saying it fucking Drew McIntyre. It drew because Rhodes didn't break that stip. And now Bryan Alvarez is like, oh yeah, he's going to break that stip, obviously. And it ain't going to fucking
the best
draw.
Guys, Tony Khan.
And they're just admitting what everybody tried to point out like fucking 4 years ago. When did Rhodes leave AEW? 4 years ago at this point now. Like, people tried to point this shit out.
People probably thought it was serious.
For those of you that think that they're going to abide by the stipulation and that he is never going to challenge for the title again, I don't know what to tell you, but man, if you watch that show tonight and that MJF promo, I mean, they couldn't have told you more clearly without just telling you. He's breaking the stip. MJF is sitting there going, I'm 30 years old. I got 20 more years to be the best in the world. There was only one guy that could stop me from being the greatest of all time, and that is Hangman Page. And for 20 more years, he said, I'm going to be fighting for that legendary spot as the greatest of all time while you're stuck in the mid-card. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
They ain't sticking to this stip, everybody. I don't know how long it's going to be, but
it's going to be right when he comes back. He's going to turn heel again because Tone flip-flopped him because he can't ever just stick with anything. And that's why everybody has had more face and heel turns than the fucking Big Show in AEW.
He's fighting for that title again. What that means for any stip that's ever promised again, we shall see.
Yeah, and Dave will never, yeah. He'll never criticize it. But at the beginning, did the stip draw? That was more of a Bryan rant. We're going to get into the tickets here, okay? So we head over here, and this is what Wrestling Observer Radio had to say. Revolution pay-per-view buys did pretty good, Brian. It's certainly the best since All in Texas, and probably a decent margin. He's completely lying about this.
Would you please shut the hell up? Liar!
So Dave says All in 2025 did 180,000 to 185,000 buys. AEW's highest buy rate since then is 140,000, which suggests that Revolution drew between 140 to 180 buys. How does it suggest that? How does it suggest that at all, Dave? Can you explain that? Read the Observer. How does it mean that? So it's the best since All in 25. So it means it did between 140 and 180,000 buys. That's actually fucking nutty and insane. And people's streams and shit were crashing out. Triller was crashing out. HBO Max crashed out. Dave's lying again, just like when he added the 30% on Amazon. Remember when Amazon had to refund all those fucking, or on Prime, right? He was on there. Yeah, and they had to refund all those fucking pay-per-views. Dave's lying through his goddamn teeth with this. Now, how do you know that, Phil? You might be asking. Go. Let's head over here to Switchblade, who posted this, and he tracks this, and this matters. Now, Dave, again, he likes to look at the TNA, YouTube, Google trends. YouTube is Google. He likes to look up the TNA and the UFC trends. And, it's interesting. It should be noted, but it comes to AEW, and he never looks these up ever. Now, YouTube pay-per-view, pay to watch. For AEW Revolution, right? You're in the chat. There's 1,900K, 10 million K bajillion, 1,900 people, 1,900 motherfuckers watching, paying to watch this in YouTube's live chat or whatever, right? Like you're not just sitting there. I don't even think you're allowed in the chat if you don't pay to watch the pay-per-view. So they're sitting there watching this pay-per-view on YouTube, right? 1.9K people. And the Google trends align with this. Switchblade tracks this. He will go in after. He probably already posted it. I didn't even see it because I don't even need to see it because I know what happens. We've done this enough times. The Google trends match and all this shit as far as like what's trending and shit. And so Switchblade wrote this. AEW Revision, which he corrected himself and said was a typo, but that's hilarious that it typoed to Revision for Revolution because that's what Dave's doing. AEW Revision currently has 1.9K people watching the live pay-per-view on YouTube. This would be equal to World's End, but way down from Forbidden Door last year, which peaked at 5.2K live viewers. At best, based on past trends, I'd expect it to grow at most by 100 to 200 viewers at most. That's what Switchblade said. Now, he was on with this In fact, it grew a little bit more than that. That's what she said. Right? And he gives it credit for that, but he tracks it. So it goes up to 2.1K. Now remember, Forbidden Door, which Dave isn't even bringing up, 5.2K live viewers last year. Right? On YouTube. So the YouTube viewer, and remember, YouTube it's the most dominant streamer, even for Nielsen, it has the most market share and shit. We've looked at all the charts and graphs. I can't go over them all. We've already done this over and over and over. HBO Max is the very, very, very bottom, WBD. It's before other with the lowest. Then you have Netflix and YouTube dominate. And YouTube even dominates Netflix. So it went up to 2.1K. Then it went up to 2.2K. Then it went up to 2.4K and peaked at 2.4K. Forbidden Door peaked at 5.2K. So on the largest streamer pay-to-watch pay-per-view fucking platform in the world for AEW, that AEW could, where they have the most reach to people and all this shit, Forbidden Door peaked at 5.2K live viewers. Double. More than double. I think when I put my tweet out as well, I said almost double. It's more than doubled the live viewers in the YouTube chat or in the YouTube pay to watch. Now, does this mean on HBO Max the pay-per-views weren't through the roof for Revolution? I don't know, but nobody can fucking prove that, and that's why we look at this shit that we can prove. Do you guys get it? You guys get what I'm putting down here? You dig what I'm saying? So this peaked at 2.4K viewers on YouTube. So where would any indication, unless HBO Max and Prime and all of these Triller phone up Dave Meltzer and tell them, oh, it did better than All In and all this other shit? How the fuck would he know? There's no way he would know. But he can look at Google Trends when it comes to TNA. And when it comes to UFC, he doesn't look at Google Trends when it comes to this shit. He doesn't look at YouTube Trends when it comes to this shit, to AEW, because it completely destroys his narrative. Now, remember that one gentleman, and we showed that chart on the show, where AEW's conversion rates every year are fucking funky and wonky. And Dave's for pay-per-views, and they're higher than the Attitude Era when pay-per-view was fucking pay-per-view. And Dave, however he does these adjustments, it doesn't even make sense. It's out of whack. And not just because they're inflated, but because some years they're inflated, then some they're way lower. It just doesn't even make sense. But they're all higher than the Attitude Era. It's nutty, man. It's loopy. So he doesn't even look at this shit. So let's do a little science experiment here, okay? Phil Nye, the science guy. So AEW, or I Googled this. I did this on PWT live shows. How many pay-per-view buys did AEW Forbidden Door 2025 do according to Dave Meltzer? So 122,000 to 130,000. Okay? That's what Forbidden Door last year did in pay-per-view buys. And the YouTube analytics, the peak on YouTube, the number one fucking streamer, more than double the people were in for that show than they were for this Revolution show. What is Dave saying over here? Oh, this one did between 140,000 to 180,000 buys.
Liar! Liar! Tell us what you know, you goddamn liar!
What's going on, man? How? How do you just make this shit up, Dave? And live with yourself? So he's floating out there 180,000 or to 140,000. Meanwhile, a show that trended twice last year. So they were on all the same shit. They were on Max. They were on fucking Prime. They're on Triller. They're on everything. And now all of a sudden this one did 40 to 60,000 more buys, Dave. And the attendances are less, and year over year they're fucking.
Are you
less.
sure about that?
Fuck, man. I just don't know, dude. I just really don't know. And the only time things like this that are questionable that come up, it's Dave talking about pay-per-view numbers or streaming conversion numbers that the NBA don't even do. So it's like, you're cooked. We got you. So somebody sent me these, and I'm going to show these, I believe, here. So let's go ahead and share this screen. Okay, so this was sent to me, Cultaholic, this courtesy of Cultaholic. Well, the exact numbers are currently unknown. Revolution 2026 was All Elite Wrestling's best pay-per-view buy since All In 2025. Meltzer reported on Observer Radio that Revolution's buy rate was really good, saying, I don't have any numbers right now, but it did pretty good, like really good. It's certainly the best since All In, and probably by a decent margin. So he doesn't know numbers. He's just estimating it's 140 to 180 based off bullshit that doesn't make sense, based off his other bullshit. Like, this is cooked, man. This is fucking insane. He should not be allowed to continue doing this. So I'm going to pull up this other one here. And here's a screen grab that someone sent me. Let's take a look at this. And this guy goes, Meltzer asking people what they think the AEW pay-per-view number is going to be, as if he isn't just going to make it up as doing a strong number anyways. Dave Meltzer tweeting out asking people for tomorrow's pay-per-view, do you think over or under 143K? So he's already sitting there like, oh, it's over 143K. That's like the basis he's starting with, because, well, it did as good as All In or whatever the fuck, which did between 140 to 180,000. So I'm just going to make up. And who told him that? They didn't trend that way on Google. And then it was called, this means he's going to report over 143K book market. And that's absolutely what he did. So he just makes up, oh yeah, anywhere from over 140 to 180,000 buys. And that's such a huge, large number. And it's like, how do you whittle this down? Now, we've done this where we've gone over Dave's pay-per-view buys, UFC pay-per-view buy predictions, and we've seen the trend where once the whole game changed and streaming and all this, everything changed, it just passed Dave by. His predictions were just way off. Whereas way back in the day, he'd have numbers. Now, who knows if he was just good at estimating? Who knows if he fucking had information? But the way things work now, there aren't people at Prime, Triller, WBD. They can't even get the weekly fucking ratings, but he knows the pay-per-view numbers. Tone goes, I don't know the numbers, but you have these numbers. He's just piling bullshit on top of bullshit. And that's why his card keeps getting pulled for it. Now, again, you can look at these YouTube trends. They're not the end-all be-all, but it definitely suggests the interest. It's fucking YouTube, man. It's YouTube. Guess what Joe Rogan just said? The biggest podcast in the world is how many fucking view it. You know, I think it does get beat now. I think some people do better numbers than him now, but just overall, it's like the most famous, well-known, recognized podcast, right? Is JRE. Joe Rogan just said on one of his most recent episodes, I think, I listened to him with Dustin Poirier. And Joe said that he's like, obviously he's on YouTube. He gets like millions of views, right? And he said his pod is on Prime. And he's like, it gets no views. No fucking views at all. Now think about that. That's the biggest pod in the world. Now I know a pod's not wrestling, but what is Prime doing? Like how Dave just added 30% when they added Prime. He admitted to doing it. I felted him for it multiple times. I had to bring it up a year later and prove that's what he did. And I don't believe now, it's like these numbers are based off of the 30% he added with fucking Amazon before. So like Prime isn't reaching out to him. WBD ain't reaching out to him. Nobody's reaching out to him and telling him the shit. It's just estimations based on trends other than the ones that you want to ignore, like YouTube. And YouTube is Google, buddy. So it's the biggest streamer, period. This had half of the fucking people paying attention to it on YouTube than Forbidden Door did last year. Forbidden Door, according to you, Dave, did 122,000 buys. I believe that means it did 85 to 95,000 buys at the most, somewhere in that range. And so that's inflated as well. And you're saying it did better than that for some reason, or whatever, or not that one, sorry, All In. You said it did better than All In, which that had more interest than Forbidden Door. But Switchblade is bringing up Forbidden Door just to show you, like, this show had double the interest. And Dave said this is the number it did. And I called it out. As soon as Switchblade posted this, I knew it. I was like, Dave's going to say this shit did like 150,000. He's saying 140 to 180. That's cooked, man. And meanwhile, and this is a clip we played on the last DMDMW, Time Cop. Dave Meltzer was trying to convince Bryan Alvarez and everybody that last time, and Jim Cornette covered this, his and Brian last reaction to this had me fucking, I was laughing along with them. But Dave's trying to convince everybody that one AEW fan buys one pay-per-view per year. And it's because he's trying to keep up the fucking appearance as though there's like millions or over 1 million people that watch this shit and like AEW. And so he was trying to convince Alvarez, who wasn't even buying it, that there's like groups of 4 people, let's say, that just rotate. One person buys a pay-per-view every time. And I know that sounds retarded, but that's what he was trying to say. And even Brian was like, Dave, that doesn't make sense. And Dave's like, I've checked the numbers. And it doesn't ever occur to Wavy Davey, to Seltzy Meltzy, like, buddy, do you think you're just like wrong about something?
Poor people don't like AEW.
Do you think you just like are wrong?
He had that Cuervo with him the whole time too.
You don't even spell right or spell check your fucking thing using AI, your shit rag, and you don't even say people's names right and shit. I don't know if maybe your math's off. You carried a 1 where you shouldn't have or something, buddy. I don't fucking know. All right. But that was Dave getting exposed for AEW tickets. Or not tickets. I keep saying tickets because the whole conversation right now is like WrestleMania tickets, and it's just all the spurging everyone's doing online about like Revolution was a sellout, and it's like, buddy, you can fit 21,000 people in there or whatever. 21, you can fit however many people. Like, no, it wasn't a sellout. We got to stop playing this game, or we either have to play this game, we have to play it fully to where every company, if you sell out your setup, that's a sellout, or we just don't play that game at all. How about we just stop playing that game? Words matter, okay? And speaking of words mattering, and speaking of people pretending that they don't know.
I don't know!
Me neither, Lex. The Dirt Sheets pretended that they didn't see all of them. Just happened. Sap was on vacation, and fucking, Meltzer was fucking getting some bread, doing his fucking laundry. He's at the laundromat. Fucking nobody has any info on, TMZ's reporting on the shit. Ricochet makes this comment about people with fucking I'm glad this lady got MS. We covered the shit out of it. I buried Ricochet last night. Time Cop on PWT Live Show is an epic burial. And he's definitely dented after that one. And, Ricochet apologized and all these things, and then the Dirt Sheets jump on it as soon as he apologizes, right? And, Fightful and their employees can spend 2-3 fucking days melting down, arguing with people about fucking whether or not they ignored a story instead of just going, man, he said some fucked up shit. We should just, here's our report on it. Our bad. Yeah, we'll cover it next time. And save face. Instead, they're just melting down. No, we're infallible, perfect, nigh omnipotent human beings who report news, but we're not journalists, though. We're wrestling writers, TM. We're not journalists. because we don't want to be held accountable, where we want to cop out of everything. And then Dave Meltzer and Bryan Alvarez, or fucking Dave's watching wrestling, too busy watching wrestling, squishing bananas, scaring the hoes, squishing bananas in their faces. He can't fucking he can't report on this shit until the apology comes out. Then everyone's all over it. Meanwhile, you had Dirt Sheets reporting on Tyra Maysteel's dream about Triple H releasing her or some shit. They had that story right away. So this is just incredibly telling. Where the state of fucking pro wrestling media is. JD went on a good rant. Go and check out his fucking rant that people are clipping and sharing. But it's always been this way, though. It's not like it's gonna fucking change. And again, like, wrestling media is always like, it seems like it's a few years behind on everything. And it seems like this is where a lot of, like, you know, entertainment media kind of was a few years ago, right? Like, now everybody's like, everyone's full of shit. Fuck the mainstream media sucks and all this shit. Like, everybody's kind of on that tip. Whereas, like, in wrestling, we're just catching up to that, where now finally everyone's revolting. Like, okay, we're done. Stop peddling bullshit. And then you have people like, well, why does it trigger you? Because we don't, this is the shit that comes up when you fucking are a fan of wrestling. This is what the algorithm feeds you. Don't blame me. Okay? You fucking, I'm sorry people are lying, making shit up, and then, you know, and then saying, well, I'm not a journalist, but then melting down when you say, oh, you're a journalist. Or Dave Meltzer copping out and going, well, unfortunately, my newspaper isn't the same as my website that I employ people to work for. So if somebody over there says something that contradicts something I wrote in my holy Bible of pro wrestling, fuck them. And Brian's just a podcaster. You're just throwing each other under the bus. You're all coping. And you're all trying to skirt accountability for fucking for this type of shit. And same with Ricochet. For all the people like, everyone's soft. You're all soft because he made this comment. No, it's not that. It's that we're trying to hold motherfuckers accountable for this shitty trolling he's been doing. It's not good. It's not good heel work. And if the cop-out is, well, because that's what it is. It's a cop-out. Oh, he's just being a heel, you pussies. Okay, then why did he apologize? Why did he delete? Why did he then write a fucking cope tweet going, if you know what people write me and my wife threatening me every day, and then all you fucking tards start talking about how this Sandy girl was harassing him and his family. She never did that, right? But you just read some shit and then make up a bunch of extra in your head and run with it. And instead of being a man and just being like, yeah, that's kind of a bully thing. Like, it's just a bully thing where Ricochet thinks he control. And again, too, can I point this out? So back in the day, you would get heel heat so that fans, you wanted to get them so mad that they'd fucking jump the barricade with a pocket knife type shit, right? You're healing. The point of healing is to get people so fucking mad they hate you, they'd spit in your fucking face if they could, and they want to buy a ticket to see you get knocked the fuck out, right? So, okay, Ricochet, you're going savage on everyone in hopes of what? That they go savage on you. And your wife's a public figure. So when Samantha Irvin posts, like, look at these disgusting death threats people are sending us. Yeah, but guess what? Your husband, that's the whole point of what he's trying to do. And I don't fuck with anybody sending anyone death threats. I don't fuck with Sap getting in people's DMs trying to fight them and shit. I don't fuck with any of that goofy shit. And people who are really about it aren't going to message you some shit like that. Do you know what I'm saying? They're not going to message you. They're not going to send you an email and go, oh, man, I'm going to fuck you up anyways. It's just IWC dorks being fucking mentally ill, okay? And Samantha knows that. Ricochet knows that, and that's why he leaned into the fucking trolling. And the whole purpose of what he's doing is to get people want to fucking knock his head off for real. Or else what are we doing here? Or else, oh, so it's actually real then. So it's either you're working and you want people to want to rip your fucking head off, and you have to accept that in the day and age, if you're going to do that with social media and you're going to use social media to troll, you have to accept that people are going to go fucking savage on you in social media, right? You have to accept that part, right? And they might say some unacceptable shit or shit that people deem unacceptable, which I do. But what you said, I don't think it's a fireable offense. I don't even know if I'd say it's unacceptable. Oh, good thing you got MS. I would say as a public representative of a company, or if you want to spurg out and go, oh man, you should see what people send me. Okay, so you're stooping to their level. So you're a bully then. So you like when you can do that to other people, but when they slap back, you don't like that. So you're a bully then. Right? Like, that's what it literally is. And people going, oh, everyone's soft. Then why did he apologize? Why wasn't he on fucking TV? After he's on TV every single show, every single week. Why was he forced to apologize? Why did he take it upon himself to do it, whether he meant it or not? Is he soft? You fucking morons. And all these fucking idiots. Did you do anything? Did you raise money for MS and shit? Well, now people are. People are donating, so yes. And as I pointed out on the live show, yeah, buddy, now we're talking about it. Now we're talking about how that was insensitive. Yeah, raised awareness, bitch. Are you guys fucking stupid? They're all just coping. They're all coping. Run the fucking...
You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard. Coping and seething.
And so Malding Ricochet here, he apologized, and of course that's when the sheets all picked it up. Here's Dave and Brian's fucking take on this.
You know how long this MS tweet was up, and he was doubling down on it? I mean, it wasn't like it was up for 15 minutes and then came down. Apparently it was up for days.
Twitter is really just the amplification.
I'm sorry, Lance Storm. Shout out Lance Storm.
And the ability for people to say stupid things,
well, of course,
in a bigger forum. So the blame really needs to go on those saying stupid things.
Well, yeah, Ricochet said something unbelievably stupid, and this was not to a fan. This was to a fan who has multiple sclerosis. She has MS, and he said, "I'm glad you got MS." What are we doing?
And then some guy I saw too, like some guy was like, "Yeah, my wife fucking is like in a wheelchair from MS," and then Sap's like, "Well, why aren't you focused on that and shit?" And then he deleted his shit, and it's like, why are these guys deleting then if what they're saying isn't fucked up? Like, come on, man.
What are we doing? And then
it wasn't even like a clever roast, Ricochet.
In his apology, he says, "I took out my hatred for the IWC."
Boom. Boom. Just like Dave, he just hates the IWC, doesn't like any of you motherfuckers. Hey, Ricochet, then why is your gimmick talking shit to the IWC if you hate it so bad? This is what I'm saying. Like, is Gunther on there? He's a way hotter heel than you. He doesn't talk any shit to the IWC on Twitter. See how that works? And you can actually get over. And this is an underlying theme here with Ospreay, Ricochet, Dave being confused by Swerve, or Brian being confused by Swerve and Omega and shit. Motherfuckers, figure out how to get over, okay? Jesus Christ. Like, no one knows how to get over. They all thought, these are all the guys grouped up in AEW who thought they were going to, like the Bucks got exposed. They're not good on weekly TV. They're good in Twitter clips, okay? That we used to share when they were in Japan. You didn't see them every week. They're good like once a month, once every 3 months. They have a crazy fucking match. You know what I'm saying? All these guys were just exposed, and all these fucking Ospreay, Ricochet, all these motherfuckers. Ospreay, too. I was calling it out earlier. He comes back, first thing he does, a super triple flip to the outside, because that's all he can fucking do. You got to be, and I don't mean to roast these guys, but like, if Ricochet's dumb enough to think what he's been doing on Twitter, and I've been pointing this shit out forever, it's just cringe. It's like X-Pac took a shit in your bag. We want you to go away. We don't want to tune in to see you get punched out. We want to just not tune in at all. This is what we tune in for. Ready? Kickbox Andrew Tate. You guys can have a mirror match. Kickbox them, and then maybe people will tune into that. I'll tune in. I'll pay money to see that, right? Watch you two dummies punch each other in the fucking head. Otherwise, it's just you're in a fake wrestling match and you're one of the flip guys, so people don't give a fuck, right? It's not drawing you heat. You're not Floyd Mayweather.
All right, fine. You hate the internet wrestling community. Get off Twitter. Why does anybody need to go on Twitter and fight with people all day? I don't get it. I have friends that do it, including Dave. I have begged them to stop doing it.
Oh,
I don't
shit,
understand.
he just fell to Dave, dude. He called him out.
I don't see what the positive is.
They talk about, oh, the haters, they're so mean, there's polarizing, their internet wrestling community. It's rage baiting, engagement farming. People don't even mean what they're saying to you. Wrestlers need to realize they're getting worked. People are trying to get engagement and reactions, and being trolls and ignorant to...
Okay, here's the problem, Lance Storm. You're absolutely right, but it's not that Ricochet bit on some shit. He's a fucking bully. He saw this one because Ricochet and his wife, they want to get into acting, baby. They want to get into music and Hollywood and all that shit. And I bet you Fingershay takes acting classes. And I said this again, I'm repeating some stuff from last night, but it must be said during the segment. I think he's probably taking acting classes where they probably both are. Probably trying to get on TV and shit. So when she said that, it struck a nerve with him. And he looked at her profile, went, oh, she has MS? Let me get this bitch. Oh, I'm glad you got MS. That's fucking cooked, man. Like, that's just a cooked thing to do, period. It doesn't matter if you're like a lowbrow troll or not. And she wasn't even really trolling for a reaction. It's an elderly fan with fucking MS who was just like, his acting ain't good. Laughy face, laughy face, laughy face. Not even a fuck, not even a stink. There wasn't even a finger emoji in that thing. Nothing even nasty like that. And he fucking took it to that level. And then when he apologized for it and when he coped, like, you guys don't even know how many death threats we get. That's called cope. And that's when you're not healing. So you're not healing. So you're just being a little bitch on Twitter. Okay, got it. Because if it was all for the heal, it was just for healing. Ricochet would have went, yeah, fuck her. Or he just would have stayed off Twitter, let it blow up. And then he would have and then if he got reprimanded for it, okay, it would have happened. And he would have just said, look, I was playing a character. I'll do better. But instead he sincerely apologized. And he fucking coped over it before he apologized. Look, man, I get hated on all the time. That's cool, but she didn't do that to you. And why would you even respond to her? It's because he vanity searches and then he just goes at people he think that he can get a ratio on because he's the one doing the trolling for attention, Lance Storm. So Lance is right, but Ricochet's the one acting like that. She wasn't acting like that. Okay?
Famous people that react and post stupid stuff.
It wasn't stupid. She just said his acting hasn't gotten better. It has not.
Being worked. You're the monkey dancing when they say dance, monkey, dance. They're trying to get you to say something to either get you in trouble like this or to just get traction and trend so that they get more followers.
Lance is victim blaming. No, I'm not going to accuse him of that. But like, dude, yeah, you're kind of like blaming her. She didn't do any of that. But yes, Ricochet definitely, like, by reacting to the trolls like that, you are playing into their hand. Absolutely. But that's what he was looking to do. That's what he was looking for. He seeks it out online. And then when Jim Cornette claps at him, oh, Jim, it's all good, Jim. You know, I don't want the smoke with you. Haha. But then some poor old lady with MS says some shit about his acting, and he fucking, oh, I'm glad, it's just, he's a dummy. He's a dumbass.
Don't engage with trolls. Don't engage with rage baiting. They aren't haters. They're working you.
Yeah, shout out Lance Storm. And what he's saying is true, but at the same time, because he doesn't know how he's not watching all of Ricochet's tweets. He doesn't see how he conducts himself on Twitter. And he doesn't know that Ricochet was like the one being what he's describing right now, And then in this last clip, Dave Meltzer questions whether or not AEW should have some sort of social media policy. And it's like, didn't they already?
The best guys, Tony Khan.
Wasn't there already like a memo put out about social media, or there was already something or other put in place, put in motion, where they were going to stop being such sickos online and all this fucking shit and speaking out about the company and all of that. And now a lot of the wrestlers don't care, like Guevara and Valkyrie and Purrazzo and Britt Baker and Angel Ortiz for a bit there. They're all just like, yeah, I'd love to get booked. So Dave wonders whether AEW should fucking, and again, this is the other thing too. The old saying where it's like, oh, don't do this because you'll ruin it for everybody, right? Your teacher used to tell you this in grade 1. And again, we talked about this the other night. There's a reason you learn these little lessons as kids, right? Like, here, let's play the game of telephone. By the time it gets to the fourth person, they're talking shit. The story's muddied up and fucked up. And there's a reason you learn that when you're 6 years old. It's because it's something you carry with you until you're a fucking adult, if you're not a dum-dum, right? And so it's there's another thing in society that everybody kind of understands that you learn at a young age. It's like, oh, don't hey man, the teacher keeps candies in this drawer over here, and she rewards everyone when they do good on their test. Don't go in there. It's unlocked, but don't go in there or you ruin it for everybody. That sort of fucking thing, right? Ricochet, now what Dave is trying to make this conversation because of Ricochet, he's trying to make this conversation about should they have a social media policy for all of the wrestlers so then MJF can't do what he does because he actually does it well. Like when his wife posts something and then he's like, nice tits, I mean it. Like it's funny, you know? And some people think MJF's hack now too. A lot of people think it's hack and played out. So that's even him, dude. People are wearing thin with even MJF who's gotten away with it for a long time, right? So now because Ricochet's a moron, everybody is going to get punished or what? It's fucking, he fucked up. Now everybody's not allowed to try and work a heel on social media. Like we see WWE wrestlers do it effectively all the fucking time. They can't figure it out. Well, in WWE, they have a social media manager. Yeah, exactly. There should be fucking checks and balances here with all this shit. It's just the Wild West. It's a super indie. Let's hear Dave and his take on this.
One of his friends called him and said, you really should take the tweet down.
So he didn't even want to take it down like everybody suspected. His friend said he should, and then that's luckily Ricochet listened, but he probably wouldn't have if his friend
Poor
didn't.
people don't like AEW.
Okay, got it.
So he took the tweet down. And upon thinking about it, he then apologized. It was not nobody.
So Ricochet reached out to Dave and told him, yeah, a friend told me to whatever, get this story out there, bud. And then I thought about it. And then like Dave's Jean Grey telepathy, Sadie Sink and Spider-Man Brand New Day. You guys see that trailer? Fucking ruled. Anyways, yeah, Dave Meltzer can just read his mind then, or he just knows. He just knows what Ricochet was thinking and how it all went down.
Apology or anything like that. He decided to apologize, and he did. And she decided to deactivate her account because she was starting to get deaths.
Yeah, so listen, Ricochet, do you know what me and my wife get death threats because I play a fucking heel and I want people to hate on me because that's what a heel is. So then when a lady on Twitter hates on me, which is what I want, death threats, okay, that's too far to Ricochet and his wife. I don't condone that ever, but like that's the new version of they hopped the barricade and this guy had a fucking 8-ball in his sock and this guy had a knife and he stuck Arn Anderson on his way out of the 1977. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the new version of that, but it's just a bunch of Twitter tough guys. I ain't gonna do shit. But with Ricochet, that's what he wants. He wants people to talk shit. I'm just healing. And then she does that. She talks shit about him. That's what you wanted, right? At least in Sandy's case, it's what you wanted. And then you snipe at her, then people get mad at you, so that's what you want. But then they got mad at her because of your Ricochet's dumbass Cope tweet where he's like, oh, I get so much threatening messages. And then they said that's what she was doing. And then a bunch of people threatened her. And then what did Samantha Irvin do? She posted, here's screen grabs of my threats. So does it justify shit? Or why don't you just contribute $250 to an MS thing and then you fucking post here, Sandy, tag her thing. I would love to get in contact with you and make this right or some shit like that. Instead, Samantha Irvin's just like, oh, look, I'm a victim too. Look what they do to me. Okay, but she didn't do that to him. She didn't death threat people. And in Minecraft, I should probably fucking say we're on YouTube. And he started shit with her. He started it with her. And he brought up the MS thing that people don't like. He didn't do the thing that they're all accusing her of doing. That's the fucking craziest part about this all.
Threats and not.
He amplified it and made it worse.
But she was getting, the messages were even more vile, and so that's the story. It was he made a very poor choice of words. You just can't be insulting someone's physical disabilities, and got heat for it. And as far as where it stands elsewhere, as far as I know, he has gotten no. I've heard nothing from AEW or anything like that. As far as
then, how the fuck do you know that his friend told him he should delete it, and that he, upon second thought, then was like, okay, and I'll also apologize. Nobody told him to do that. He took it upon himself. How the fuck would you know all that if you didn't talk to anybody in AEW? You went and saw Miss Cleo. I went with Tone to Miss Cleo. I tell you the future. I tell you the truth. What the fuck are you talking about, man? What a cooked asshole.
He has apologized. And that's pretty much it. But for, for wrestlers, just like if you want to,
Dave, you're a internet spurg. Don't start trying to give advice. Nobody wants your advice on how not to spurg out online, dude.
Say your piece or whatever, or that's fine. You're going to get it from. It's a really bad world, in the sense of people who are just so insane. And if you cultivate it, just don't say something stupid back. That's all.
Maybe
nothing.
Don't cultivate it. Nobody in AEW, Tony Khan, nobody was like, bro, what are we doing?
Yeah, shut the fuck up. This isn't helping our TV ratings. You're turning people off. No, because Tone doesn't have the balls to do that. And the rule is Ricochet signed here. I love him. He can do whatever he wants because Dave gave him 5 stars, and I was there when that happened. I was 13 on the message board talking to Dave about it. And this is like not even an exaggeration.
Here. Why is that tweet up?
He did not get anything negative from AEW, no.
Don't you think maybe somebody should have said something?
Yeah, I think that they should.
So Punk has to go and apologize on TV. People, motherfuckers make statements all the time. With Tone, nothing. They won't even ask him at the press, whatever, at the next junket he has, which luckily for him isn't for a long time.
They told him right away to take that thing down. But someone told him to take it down and he eventually did. But yeah, it should have been quicker. Absolutely.
There should
100%.
be some sort of social media policy. Like I know that
we're like training. You think Ricochet would have this shit? This is how you know he's really a sicko. Sickochet. Okay, this is how you know. Because you would think that he got that training in WWE, like how to conduct yourself, but instead he wanted to go to the company that'll let him do what he wants and pay millions of dollars, which we all want to do that. Okay? But it's like you're an actor on TV, so it's like if somebody gave a film studio a bunch of money to do whatever they wanted and the guy kept making bombs and it was shitty acting and all this stuff, people would be like, what the fuck are you doing? It's the same thing. But for some reason, they're like, we'll just take Tone's money. He's a money mark. I'll go do whatever the fuck I want. I'll go play on AEW games for 112 people watching me. And then what? They all split the money up? Like, how the fuck? They all split the ad revenue up from that? With Mace and Mansoir or whatever the fuck? How does that work? I don't know. What's even the purpose? Who's funding this? So you guys are just taking advantage of this fucking money mark. And then you say shit like this because there's no checks and boundaries. And it just reflects poorly on Tone, and then everybody just defends Tone. It's a never-ending cycle.
People don't like how restrictive WWE is in a lot of ways. But at the same time, you don't have somebody saying, I'm glad you got MS coming out of it. Like, they would never
imagine if like Braun Breaker said that shit. Not to do a whataboutism or move the goalpost, but like just imagine if fucking Sol Ruka said that to somebody. Like, come on.
That thing would be up for 5 seconds before that person would have to take it down, be reprimanded, the whole thing. Well, he wasn't on the show tonight, and
wasn't mentioned on the show either.
He wasn't
mentioned, lost his title, and now just buried and gone.
On the show?
Nope. I mean, so I don't know. I don't know anymore.
I guess we'll wait and see.
And let's be honest, like, well, whatever. I'm not trying to. And just like, and then his wife be like posting her death threats or DTs. I don't know what the fuck. I'm not censoring myself, goddammit. Being like, I'm a victim now too. And it's like, Ricochet just said, you guys are used to getting that all the time. And we're all pussies for bringing up how he says one comment. He doubled down on it and wasn't healing. At that point, you're not a heel going, do you know in real life how much shit I get for blah, blah, blah? You're all pussies. And then your wife posts hers. So she's a pussy loser for crying, and she shouldn't cry about the comments people make, is what you're saying. Like, it's just hypocritical, and it just seems like, okay, you weren't on TV or mentioned, and then now you guys are the victims, or what? Is that how this is going to get spun? This whole thing is an ugly mess. I'm so glad we're done talking about it now. I'm fucking done. And I think I'm done like Ricochet. Unfortunately, shouldn't have burnt all those Fed bridges, bud. Jesus Christ, man. And Dave, again, he just sort of brushes it to the side and blanket statement, hey, everybody shouldn't say shit on Twitter. No, man, just this dumbass that everybody's saying you're a dumbass. When everybody's like, you're a dumbass, you're probably a dumbass. You know what I'm saying? And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week.
You know
that
poor people
don't
don't
like
like AEW.
And you know that there's flutes in the chat. Okay, I'll see you guys for Sicko Saturday. I have been Phil S. Marks. Thanks for hanging out with me. This was hashtag DMDMW. See you next time.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. You're overdue. I just felt it's something that makes you look good, and that's cool, and you know, I'm all for it, but I think you need to tone this down because now it's getting intrusive to the show. But they can go in the afternoon for a US
Hold
show,
on a second.
as they did there, and they can do 180,000 buys for an afternoon show, which they've also done for All In. So
okay,
we know they can do. We know they can do big.
Can I continue this before you cut me off? We know one thing.
Yes.
We know it might have done well because it went on first.
I'm not saying it would.
Here's my thing, Dave.
But here's okay. Wait. Okay, here's the thing. Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
I mean, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just a match.
That's the problem, Dave. It should mean something to you.
Give him a quick squash win just to show that, like, you know, he's not a loser.